Marrying an older woman as my wife, I'm going crazy with joy. I am Suyan, male, 22 years old, strong and healthy. I am about to graduate from university. An old lady came to me and asked, "Young man, do you accept temporary marriage business?" I have an old sister. "Yes, auntie, I can accept it, no problem." Chapter 1: Job hunting while searching for a rich woman. With graduation just around the corner, Suyang has been particularly busy lately. From Monday to Friday, he has been vigorously sending out resumes and running around to attend interviews. On weekends, he takes his pre-prepared marriage advertisement sign and heads to the Park's matchmaking corner to self-promote. Suyang, male, 22 years old, 181 centimeters tall, 75 kilograms. Can do 500 push-ups at once, 600 sit-ups at once. Looking for a destined lady to marry, age 18 and above, no upper limit. Local residents of Jiangcheng preferred. If the lady is outstanding, I'm open to becoming a son-in-law. I can also offer temporary boyfriend services, with a daily wage no less than 500 yuan. Overnight arrangements negotiable. Additionally, I offer homework assistance for junior and senior high school students, tutoring in mathematics, physics, and chemistry, price negotiable. Suyang comes from a small, remote mountain village. Over the past 4 years of college, all his expenses have been covered through various side jobs he found. He has done everything: homework assignments, tutoring, temporary boyfriend services, and even shopping for others at the dorm. As long as it wasn't illegal or unethical, he did do it to make money. Throughout his university years, in addition to paying for his own education, he also sent money home to his parents. After all, earning money in a small mountain village was not easy, and his mother wasn't in good health and needed medicine often. Now, facing graduation, he must find a decent job quickly. Even if it means looking for a rich woman. Taking the route of saving the country through unconventional means might not be such a bad idea. With his strength on the horizontal bar, capable of spinning the hula hoop with ease, he is definitely up to the challenge of meeting the needs of a rich woman. It's Saturday. Suyang, with his marriage advertisement sign in hand, arrives early at the Park's matchmaking corner. There are many elderly people out for their morning walk, and the earlier you arrive, the more opportunities you have. "Young man, what kind of work do you do? How much is your monthly salary?" Just as Suyang is setting up, an elderly lady walks up and examines his marriage advertisement sign carefully. "Oh. Auntie, I work in software development. I'm graduating this year and currently looking for a job. My estimated salary would be around 6,000 to 10,000 yuan. Even though Suyang is trying the unconventional route to save himself, he is still a man of integrity. If he doesn't have a job, he won't lie about it. But once he finds a job, with his skills, that salary is very likely achievable. "Oh, so you don't have a job yet? So, you don't have any salary at all, whereas the 6,000 to 10,000 yuan. I'm looking for a job. I'll find one soon." Suyang wanted to explain, but the elderly lady had already waved her hand and walked off. She didn't give him a chance to explain. This young man is still thinking about marrying into wealth. I bet he is just looking for a rich woman, huh? Oh, today's young people. "Grandpa, I'm young and handsome, so isn't it okay to look for a rich woman?" "Young man, do you have a car, a house, and savings? What do your parents do?" "Young man, do you earn 20,000 yuan a month?" "My daughter is 28 this year. She wants someone successful." "You, just a fresh graduate, no way, I can't let my daughter support you." Suyang patiently stood there. Occasionally people would stop by and chat for a few moments. However, after learning about his situation, everyone shook their heads and left. As a poor kid from a mountain village with no money or connections, and no job lined up yet, no one was willing to give him a chance. Even after 4 years of college, no girl was willing to date him for long. The main reason? His family background was just too poor. Buying gifts for a girl? Sorry, no money. Treating a girl to a fancy meal? Sorry, no money either. So how could he expect any girl to date him with such conditions? However, Suyang didn't get discouraged. He had seen this situation many times and wasn't going to let it get him down. Time passed. By 11 a.m., the matchmaking corner was almost empty. Suyang sat under a tree, let out a sigh. It seemed today was a bust, not even one person had left their contact information. Oh well, no use crying over it, he'd come back tomorrow morning. Young man, are you here for matchmaking? Yes, auntie, hello. Just as Suyang was getting ready to leave, brushing off the dust from his pants, an elderly lady approached him. She pointed to the marriage advertisement sign by his side and asked with a smile, "Do you have any requirements for the woman?" The lady continued reading the sign while nodding to herself. "Well, I don't have too many requirements. I'm graduating this year and haven't found a job yet, as long as she likes me, that's fine. As for the conditions, I hope the lady comes from a good family. As for looks and age, those could be discussed when they meet." Millimeter. Young man, I see here that you can be a temporary boyfriend, right? Yes, auntie, I can be a temporary boyfriend, with a daily rate of at least 500 yuan. Is business knocking at my door? Suyang looked up at the elderly lady, carefully sizing her up. This lady looked to be in her 60s, with a kind expression. Could it be? Is this lady asking me to be her temporary boyfriend? If she is willing to pay, and it's no less than 500 yuan a day, why not? Millimeter. The lady nodded, her eyes lighting up with a hint of surprise. She had expected this young man to actually mean what was written on his sign. It wasn't just a flashy attention grabber. Young man, would you be willing to temporarily marry someone? Temporary marriage. Suyang was taken aback by the lady's words. What? He had never considered such a business opportunity before. Yes, young man. If you're interested, let us find a place to talk about it. Sure, auntie, no problem. Suyang, seeing an opportunity, certainly wasn't going to turn it down. Besides, he had never dealt with such a business before, and he was very curious about it. All right, come with me. There's a bench up ahead, let us sit there and chat, all right. Okay, auntie. Suyang nodded, quickly folding up his marriage advertisement sign. Though this wasn't his first deal at the matchmaking corner, this temporary marriage business was definitely a first for him. Auntie, are you looking for a temporary spouse for your daughter or for yourself? Suyang walked beside the elderly lady, carefully examining her. This lady had quite a pleasant temperament. She walked steadily, seemed to be in great health, and her skin looked pretty good as well. By the looks of it, she must have been a beautiful woman when she was young. Chapter 2, Marry my sister, and I'll give you 500,000. I have an older sister who is seriously ill. The doctors have given her a death sentence, saying she only has about a month to live. Oh. Upon hearing the old lady's words, Suyang immediately understood. It seemed that it wasn't the old lady herself who needed a temporary husband, but rather her older sister. Young man, I wonder if you'd be willing to marry my older sister in a simple wedding ceremony. Well, I could do it, but it'll cost more. The temporary boyfriend business was 500 yuan per day, at a minimum. A temporary husband, however, was definitely worth more. Given that the person in question was about to die, this should be a special case. The price should definitely be higher. At least 1,000 yuan a day, right? As long as you agree, the money is no problem. Here's what I propose: after the wedding ceremony, I'll pay you a one-time payment of 500,000. What? 500,000? Yes, a one-time payment of 500,000 after the wedding ceremony. The old lady nodded, her gaze serious and not joking at all. Wait. So, I'm only marrying your older sister for the ceremony, right? There's nothing else involved. If it were really this simple to earn 500,000, it would be like a gift from the heavens. Just a wedding ceremony, half a day's work. It can't really be that easy, right? Since it's a wedding ceremony, you'll need to get a marriage certificate first. But that's simple. Just bring your ID and household register. Huh? We still need to get the certificate. Hearing the old lady's words, Suyang was taken aback. Things weren't as simple as they seemed. This meant that in order to earn 500,000, he had to marry her older sister first. But her sister only had a month left to live, so this marriage certificate would likely be valid for no more than a month. A month, for 500,000. That's 500,000. Yes, since it's a wedding ceremony, you'll definitely need a marriage certificate. But my older sister only has about a month to live, so this won't affect you much in the future. What do you think? Suyang thought for a moment. 500,000 was a lot of money. After all, it was only for a month, so the marriage certificate wouldn't be of much use afterward. If he married someone else in the future, it would just add a death certificate for the spouse. Of course, this would somewhat affect future remarriage, but they were paying 500,000. Maram, you're asking me to marry your sister to fulfill some kind of ritual, right? Millimeter. You're right. The idea is to perform a ritual to try to save her. It's a last-ditch effort, hoping it will work. Well, what if the ritual works, and your sister gets better? Since it was a ritual, maybe it would help. Who knows? Even if it didn't work, maybe the doctor's diagnosis was wrong? The doctor said she had no more than a month left to live, but what if she lived for several more years? If she really gets better, don't worry. My sister will definitely divorce you. At that time, I'll give you 2 million. 2 million. Su Yang's eyes widened in shock. He had never seen 2 million in his life. Yes, 2 million. The old lady nodded, her expression serious, her eyes full of expectation. Okay, I agree, auntie. This was the biggest deal Su Yang had ever been offered. $1 million deal, he couldn't hesitate. Once he got the money, his mom could go to a big hospital for treatment. With the money, finding a wife back home wouldn't be too difficult either. What if this marriage partner really lived for 3 more months? Soon, Su Yang and the old lady came to an agreement. By Monday, Su Yang hurriedly grabbed his household register and ID, rushing to the First People's Hospital of Jiangcheng. The old lady had said her sister was in the ICU here. As long as he brought the materials, someone would help them get the marriage certificate. Once the certificate was ready, he'd just change into his groom attire and head into the ICU. A simple wedding ceremony would be held, and the old lady would immediately hand over 500,000 yuan to him. Su Yang was a punctual person, especially when there was 500,000 at stake. Before 8 a.m., he had already arrived at the ICU waiting area. He called the old lady. Auntie, hello, this is Su Yang. I'm here. Young man, please wait a moment. I'll bring people over soon. Thank you for your patience. The old lady spoke kindly as usual, but her voice carried a hint of excitement. Okay, auntie. After hanging up, Su Yang sat quietly on a bench in the hospital, his heart racing with excitement. Soon, 500,000 would be his. Everything would be fine as long as things went smoothly. He didn't even care what kind of person his bride would be. After all, she was near death. He was just there for the ritual, getting paid for his trouble. Time passed minute by minute. After about 20 minutes, the elevator doors opened, and the old lady came out, accompanied by several people, around 6 or 7 in total, both young and old. Auntie, hello. Su Yang immediately stood up and walked toward the old lady. The people behind her were all eyeing him. Good, young man, you're very punctual. Do you have your ID and household register? Yes, I have them. Su Yang pulled out his ID and household register from his bag. Xiao Zhang, please help with the paperwork. Okay, Director Li. A young man from behind the old lady nodded and quickly took the documents from Su Yang. He snapped a half-body photo of him against a white wall, and after a few more quick actions. Director Li, I'm going to the office now. I'll bring the marriage certificate back soon. Millimeter, go ahead. The young man hurriedly took the materials and rushed off. Chapter 3, The bride is the same age as my mother. Young man, here's the groom's suit we've prepared for you. You can find a place to change. The old lady took a bag from someone and handed it to Su Yang. Oh, thank you, auntie. I'll go change right away. Since they were about to hold a wedding ceremony, it was only appropriate to dress formally, even if it was a simple one. His old tracksuit definitely wasn't suitable for the occasion. It would be unprofessional to wear that for a wedding. Su Yang quickly found a place to change into the suit. Wow, this suit must not be cheap. The fabric. After changing, he combed his hair with a little water. Since he was about to get married, his hairstyle couldn't be messy either. Not bad. Indeed, clothes make the man. Once Su Yang put on the suit, his whole demeanor changed. He looked sharp and refined. Auntie, I'm all set. It didn't take long before Su Yang returned to the old lady's side. Not bad. You look good, young man. Quite handsome. I think you'll do for my older sister. The old lady looked him over and nodded to herself. She hadn't expected him to look this handsome after just a little bit of grooming. We'll wait a bit longer. My older sister needs to get dressed and put on her bridal makeup. By the time she's ready, I think your marriage certificate will be here too. Okay, auntie. Young man, from now on, you can just call me Li Jie, Sister Li. Oh. Is that okay? All right then. Okay, Li Jie. The old lady appeared to be at least in her 60s, easily 20 years older than his mother. Logically, calling her grandma would be fine, but since she asked to be called sister, he didn't mind. Well, since you're marrying my sister, Shia, you should indeed call me sister. But, it's up to you. It doesn't really matter. The old lady nodded lightly, offering a brief explanation before falling silent. After all, she was just paying someone to perform a ritual it wasn't worth overthinking. Minutes ticked by. Soon, half an hour passed. The young man who had been handling the marriage certificate earlier returned. Su-yang, here's your ID, household register, and your marriage certificate. Su-yang took the documents and froze for a moment. Marriage certificate. The little red booklet suddenly seemed so vivid. Wow. So, just like that, he was married to a woman he had never met. Yang Xia. Flipping open the red book, the woman's name appeared. The wedding photo. The woman in the photo was so beautiful. She looked to be in her 30s. Su-yang looked at her birth date. It turned out Yang Xia was 42 years old, the same age as his mother. But the woman in the photo was so beautiful. Looking at her, he felt a bit dazed. What a shame. Thinking that this aunt only had a month to live, Su-yang couldn't help but feel a tinge of sorrow. How could such a beautiful woman be dying? And now, she was his legally recognized wife. What a strange feeling. He had thought much about it before, but now, holding the marriage certificate and staring at her photo, Su-yang felt something complicated stirring inside him. He even felt that, between the two of them, some kind of unexplainable connection had suddenly formed. Mr. Sun, the bride is ready. But, she's still unconscious. All right, we won't wait any longer. Let us begin the ceremony. Su-yang, lost in thought while holding the marriage certificate, was snapped out of his daze when a young woman hurriedly came out of the ICU and reported to the old lady. Su-yang, let us go in. Okay, Li Jie. For some reason, Su-yang felt a sudden heaviness in his heart. But he didn't dwell on it too much. He quickly followed the old lady and the others into the ICU. It was a private ICU room, spacious enough. Once inside, Su-yang immediately spotted the woman lying on the bed, dressed in a wedding gown. But she looked completely different from the woman in the photo. Her eyes were tightly closed, her face pale, and she appeared extremely weak. The monitor displayed fluctuating numbers, seemingly indicating that his wife still had a heartbeat. Yang Xia. Su-yang looked at the woman lying on the bed and suddenly felt an indescribable emotion. Was this woman really my wife now? At least, legally, they were officially married. Mr. Sun, let us begin the ceremony. My sister has never been married. Holding a wedding in a hospital room like this is a bit humble. Su-yang, thank you for agreeing to this. It's okay. Su-yang shook his head slightly and quickly collected himself. All right, Mr. Sun, let us begin the ceremony now. The man speaking was likely the wedding officiant. After hearing the old lady's instructions, he immediately took action. Groom, come over here. Sit next to the bride. Everyone else, just stand on the sides. Groom, do you take this woman to be your wife? For better or worse, in sickness and in health, for richer or poorer. To love, cherish, and honor her, and remain faithful to her until the end of your days. The officiant spoke the most common vows during a wedding ceremony. I do. Su-yang knew very well that he was just here to perform a ritual. It was simply a business transaction. After the ceremony, he'd take the money and leave. He might never come back. But since they were doing a wedding, he had to at least act a little professional. Bride, do you take this man to be your husband? For better or worse, in sickness and in health. Oh. I heard you say I do. Yang Xia, still unconscious in bed, of course couldn't speak. But the officiant, experienced as he was, had already made the necessary preparations. The ceremony was simple and went smoothly. At the officiant's request, Soo-young took Yang Xia's hand. Her hand was soft and limp, and cold. He could clearly feel that her life force was very weak. Chapter 4. I actually married the old aunt. It didn't take long before the simple wedding process was over. During the entire wedding, Soo-young just pulled the bride's hand. Unlike in an ordinary wedding, the groom did not need to kiss the bride. After all, this is the intensive care unit, so after the wedding, everyone left. Soo-young, tell me your bank card number. Okay, Sister Lee. In order to facilitate money transfer, Soo-young carried his bank card with him. When he heard the old lady asking him for his bank card number, he quickly took it out of his bag. Not long after, there was an extra 500,000 yuan in Soo-young's bank card. Soo-young, legally speaking, you and my sister are already a legal couple. If you have time, you can also come and see her. She has been in a coma for the past 2 days. I wonder how long she can hold on. Of course, it doesn't matter if you don't come, it's up to you. Soo-young heard this and nodded slightly. Now the money from this business is coming in smoothly. Only. He just got a wife in a daze. And her life would soon be over. Although 500,000 is not a small amount, Soo-young feels heavy in his heart. For some reason, this aunt who was the same age as his mother, her weak and pitiful appearance made him unable to be happy at all. After Soo-young got the money, he left the hospital quickly. As for how long his marriage partner Yang Xia can live, he doesn't know either. But according to what the doctor said, I think it will be within a month. If she died, he would get a death certificate. As for her affairs after death, it had nothing to do with him and he didn't need to care at all. This was what the old lady had agreed with him before. If by any chance Yang Xia can survive more than 3 months, the old lady will pay an additional 2 million to Soo-young. Deep down, Soo-young still very much hopes that a miracle will happen. If her illness is cured, he can earn an extra 2 million, what a wonderful thing. Anyway, there is such a big age gap between them. If Yang Xia really recovers from her illness, she will probably divorce him soon. After all, this was just a wedding for good fortune, and there was no real affection between the two. After returning to school, Soo-young gave 50,000 yuan to his parents. The reason was that he found a good job and received an advance of half a year's salary. Anyway, my parents are from small mountain villages and have no idea about what's going on in big cities. So Soo-young easily fooled them into believing it. Anyway, with this money, my parents can go to a big hospital in the county and get their illness checked out. Although he has this money now, Soo-young has also become a married man. As for finding a marriage partner on the weekend, it is indeed not a good idea to do it anymore. It's really not right to look for a partner right after getting married. So Soo-young focused all his energy on finding a job. Submit resume, interview. I'm very busy every day. In the blink of an eye, it was Friday. Soo-young, how is your job search going? How many offers have you received? Oh, don't mention it. I've worked so hard for so long, but I haven't received any. Many companies are laying off employees now, and it's so difficult to find a job. Soo-young majored in computer science, and he is more interested in software development positions. But as a newly graduated student, I don't have much work experience, so finding a job is very difficult. Soo-young, are you willing to do network maintenance? This is a clothing group company. They have a special network department and are recruiting people now. But he doesn't do software development, but the salary is okay, and I just confirmed it with him yesterday afternoon. Zhang Ming is Soo-young's roommate, and the two have a very close relationship. Oh, that's fine too. Can you recommend one? Soo-young pondered for a moment and quickly nodded. It is so difficult to find a job nowadays, it is always good to have a job first, even if you want to change it later. Okay, I'll contact the department boss right away. With your level, there will be absolutely no problem. Zhang Ming is very decisive and will contact people as soon as he says he will. He took out his cell phone and contacted the department head. Not long after. Soo-young, I have contacted the head of the department. He asked you to take some time to go to the company and meet with him. I don't think it will be a big problem. Okay, I'll go there in the morning. Okay, I'll talk to the boss and see if he has time this morning. Having said that, Zhang Ming contacted the head of the department again and received a positive response. In that case, Soo-young didn't hesitate at all. Opportunities are fleeting, so you must try your best to seize any interview opportunity. After having breakfast in the cafeteria, Su Yang rushed to the clothing group company that Zhang Ming mentioned. I arrived at the network department and met the head of that department. The two had a very good chat, and the department boss also expressed recognition of Su Yang's abilities. Later I confirmed matters like salary with the HR department, and finally I got the job smoothly. When I came out of the company, it was almost 11 o'clock in the morning. After working hard for so many days, Su Yang finally got the job done and he felt relieved. I don't know what happened to that cheap wife. While walking on the road, Su Yang thought of his legal wife Yang Xie again. That weak look makes one feel heavy in the heart just thinking about it. Or, go see her. Although this was just a business deal, she was his legally recognized wife after all, so it was indeed right for him to go and see her. Su Yang checked the route on his mobile phone and found that this place was very close to the hospital where Yang Xie was. It's only 3 stops by bus. Just go. Su Yang didn't know whether he could visit at this time, but he decided to go over and take a look first. He got on the bus and quickly arrived at the hospital. When we arrived at the intensive care unit, we found out that the visiting hours were from 3 to 3:30 in the afternoon. No wonder there was no one in the waiting area. Never mind, just give it a try. The worst that can happen is that you get kicked out. Anyway, there is no one watching at the gate, and there are occasionally medical staff coming and going, so there is still a chance if you follow them through the gate. Dr. Sister, I am a family member of Ward 6, I want to visit. Su Yang was waiting at the door. Just as he was thinking, he looked up and saw a pretty little nurse walking towards him. Visiting hours are at 3 p.m. What? You are relative of Ward 6? Yes, Dr. Sister. Oh, then I know you. Your name is Su Yang, right? Yes. Su Yang was stunned when he heard this. Is he that famous? Even the nurse whom he had never met before knew him. Chapter 5. Could this stimulate her? Okay, then come with me. The young nurse looked Su Yang up and down with a smile, and couldn't help but envy him secretly. This handsome boy. He is wearing a nice suit and looks so handsome. It's just that such a handsome boy actually married an old aunt for the sake of good fortune. What a shame. Thank you, Dr. Sister, you are so beautiful. Pfft. Thank you. After hearing Su Yang's praise, the young nurse couldn't help but smile shyly. By the way, Su Yang, your wife is still in a coma. Dr. Wen said that you, the family members, must take time to talk to her more and help her strengthen her will to live. Especially you, as her new husband, it's best to communicate with her more. Once her will to survive strengthens, maybe a miracle will happen. Real. Well, that's what Dr. Wen said anyway. He's the best doctor in the department of traditional Chinese medicine in our hospital. Oh, so that's how it is. After listening to what the nurse said, Su Yang quickly understood. So, Yang Xie, this cheap wife, has a weak will to survive. That's why she never woke up. Yes, if he continues to be unconscious like this, it will probably take at most 2 weeks. The young nurse nodded and said only half of her words before stopping. As they were talking, they quickly entered Yang Xie's ICU ward. The ward was deserted, with no one in it. The only things that moved were probably the numbers and graphs on the monitor. Su Yang, talk to your wife more. Your wife's situation is a little special. You can come and talk to her often. Okay, doctor, I understand. That. Has no one communicated with her before? Oh, there were some these past 2 days, but they were useless. Look at you. I have something to do now. If you need anything, just call me outside anytime. Okay, Dr. Sister, thank you so much. You're welcome. Having said that, the young nurse walked out of Yang Xie's intensive care unit with a shy smile. After not seeing her for a few days, this cheap wife seemed to have even less vitality. Why? Su Yang stood at the head of the bed, looking at Yang Xie carefully, and his heart couldn't help but become heavy again. Although it was just a deal between the two of them, he still couldn't help feeling a little uncomfortable. Maybe it's because I see someone about to die. Everyone might feel this way. What should I say to her? Su Yang sighed slightly, reached out and pulled a chair over and sat down next to the head of the bed. Yang Xie, can you hear me? My name is Su Yang, and I just graduated from college this year. Actually, I'm a handsome guy. Really, I'm really handsome. It's just that my family is not very well off. Otherwise, I would have had a girlfriend a long time ago. Seeing the aunt's weak appearance, Suyang knew that she couldn't hear at all. So I don't care that much about what I say. Hey auntie, I know you can't hear me either, so just think of it as me talking to myself. During my 4 years in college, I seldom talk to anyone about my affairs. It doesn't seem right to call you auntie. After all, we have already obtained a marriage certificate. Strictly speaking, we are already husband and wife. I should call you my wife. Suddenly, just as Suyang finished saying this, he felt Yangshia's little hand seem to move. Huh. Is it my eyes that are blurry? Suyang looked at Yangshia's little hand and was stunned. Wife! Did you move your hand just now? How about you move it again? Suyang stared at her little hand and called her wife again. But after waiting for a while, there was no movement. I guess my eyes are blurry. Suyang couldn't help but shook his head secretly, and reached out to gently hold Yangshia's little hand. The little hands were soft and weak, still cold, and seemed even weaker. Forget it, I'll just call you my wife. Anyway, we've already got our marriage certificate, and we held a simple wedding ceremony here a few days ago. Wife. I only know that your name is Yangxia and you are the same age as my mother, and the rest. I know nothing. I don't know what you do, where your home is, or who's in your family. But now I know that you are my Suyang's wife. Suyang suddenly felt that Yangshia's little hand seemed to move slightly again. Wife, dear. Could it be that calling her wife irritated her? So he deliberately shouted a few more times. Could shouting like this stimulate her? Could it be that? Can she really hear? Honey, look, this is our marriage certificate. I know the wedding photo on it is photoshopped. But you are so beautiful. She was wearing bright red clothes and had a rosy face, which made my eyes pop out. Really, my wife, I have never seen a woman as beautiful as you. How about you wake up soon, get well soon, and we can live a good life together, okay? Really, I cook delicious food. What's more, my body is in great shape and can definitely satisfy you. I know that women in their 40s are not simple anyway. Don't worry, I work out a lot and have 8-pack abs. Suyang clearly felt that Yangshia's little hand was moving again. Moreover, this time the movement was very obvious. Squeak! The door of the ward opened and the young nurse walked in. How's it going, Suyang? Is there any reaction from your wife? Yeah, I felt her hand move. Real. The young nurse was stunned and quickly looked at the monitor above the bed. I'll go. I'll find the doctor on duty. When the nurse looked at the monitor, her eyes widened. So he turned around and hurriedly left the ward. Suyang was stunned when he saw the young nurse come in and leave in a hurry. Wasn't it just her hand moving? Was it worth making such a fuss? Or her will to survive was stimulated and became stronger. What to do? Continue chatting with her. Wife, although you look sick now, I can see that you are still a stunning beauty. If you recover, it will become more beautiful. Squeak. As Suyang was speaking, the door of the ward was pushed open again. The young nurse from before came in hurriedly with the doctor on duty. Chapter 6, My wife is my wife even when I close my mouth. Young man, what is your relationship with the patient? The doctor on duty looked at the data from the monitor and there was a hint of surprise in his eyes. Obviously, he didn't know that Suyang and the patient were married. Well, we are husband and wife. Oh, I see. Your name is Suyang, right? Right. Suyang nodded awkwardly and couldn't help scratching his head. It seems that he is really famous. I guess the whole hospital already knows his name, Suyang. Okay, young man, continue to talk to her. If you have time in the future, come over and talk to the patient more often. This will be very beneficial to her recovery. Real. Of course, you see the heartbeat has obviously increased. I never thought that finding a younger husband would have such an effect. In the second half of the sentence, the doctor on duty spoke in a very low voice, even as if he was talking to himself. Okay, come back to me if you have anything else. You can talk more with the patient. Yes, good doctor. Suyang didn't expect that his random chat with Yangxia would actually have an effect. All right. Since it works, let us talk more. Saving a life is better than building a 7-story pagoda, and this time, he was saving his own wife. Besides, if Yang Shi can really hold on for 3 months, he can still get 2 million. Even if it's just for the 2 million, he has to chat with her more. After the doctors and nurses left the ward, Su-Yang continued chatting with Yang Shi. Time passed little by little, and before I knew it, it was 12:30. Su-Yang called Yang Shi wife very smoothly. She calls me wife whether she opens her mouth or closes her mouth. It's very natural to call her that. If someone didn't know, they would definitely think that they had been married for a long time. Wife, you must take good care of yourself. I'll go back to school and come to see you in the afternoon, okay? If you don't say anything, I'll take it as your consent. Okay, honey, I'm going back first. See you in the afternoon. Su-Yang said this, gently pinched Yang Shi's little hand, then stood up. Su-Yang saw it clearly. Her hand moved again. Seem. As if trying to grab something. Wife. Do you want me to hold your hand? Seeing this, Su-Yang quickly sat down again and reached out to hold her hand. Honey, are you hungry? I'm a little hungry. When you wake up, tell me what you want to eat and I'll buy it for you, okay? If you recover from your illness. Your husband can also cook for you. I'm not lying to you. My cooking is delicious. I can cook for you 3 meals a day. Su-Yang stroked Yang Shi's small hand, and his words became more and more natural and fluent. Okay, honey, I'm going to eat first. I'll try to come earlier this afternoon. Su-Yang stayed for a few more minutes, then let go of Yang Shi's hand and left the ward. After leaving the hospital, Su-Yang found a roadside shop, ate something, and then took the bus to school. Perhaps because he chatted too much with Yang Shi, his mind was now full of her appearance. A wife who is the same age as my mother. Mainly because she was unconscious, Su-Yang dared to talk to her like that. Anyway, it's just like nature talking to itself. It was really interesting to be with a woman who was the same age as my mother, calling her husband and wife so passionately. If she really wakes up. Su-Yang knew that he would be embarrassed to shout like that. Especially when it comes to some dirty talk, he would definitely not dare to say it. An hour later, Su-Yang rushed back to school and returned to the dormitory. Su-Yang, how's it going? Have you finished your work? As soon as I entered the dormitory, Zhang Ming came up to me. Sniff. Why do you smell like hospital medicine? Done, thank you so much, bro. Su-Yang nodded, reached out and patted Zhang Ming on the shoulder to express his sincere gratitude. TSK, it's just a small matter. I went to visit a friend in the hospital. Oh, I thought so. As for what kind of friends he is looking at, he naturally won't say much. And the fact that he was already married was kept secret. Su-Yang, you look so handsome in this suit today. Isn't it? I bought this specifically for the purpose of finding a job. Hold it. This suit of yours must be worth more than 10,000 yuan, right? Su-Yang didn't know what suit brands were because he had never owned any particularly decent clothes in all these years. So when the old lady gave him the clothes, he didn't know how much the clothes were worth. Anyway, I think it fits me well and the material is pretty good. How is that possible? Do you think I look like someone who can afford such expensive clothes? This is fake. Oh, no wonder, I was scared. Har har har. Seeing that Zhang Ming was fooled, Su-Yang couldn't help but laugh foolishly. Su-Yang went out, took a shower, and prepared to rest for a while. Since he had promised Yang Shi that he would go see her in the afternoon, he naturally could not go back on his word. Ding ling ling. I had just been lying in bed for 2 minutes when my cell phone rang. When I picked it up, it turned out to be the old lady calling from before. Su-Yang didn't want his roommates to hear the conversation, so he quickly got out of bed, put on his slippers and walked out of the dormitory quickly. Hello? Hello, Sister Lee, what can I do for you? Su-Yang, did you go to the hospital to see my older sister at noon? Yes, I went to see her. The doctor said that talking to her more would be good for her recovery. Yes. Thank you so much, Su-Yang. If you are free, please go and chat with my sister more. I can pay for part of the expenses. Well, no need for money, thank you. I will try to find more time to visit her. Anyway, I will be leaving school soon, so I have some time recently. Money is indeed very important to Suyang. But he is not a greedy person. A gentleman loves money, but he gets it in a proper way. Both parties have made it very clear before. And if Yang Xie can live more than 3 months, the old lady will give him 2 million. In fact, this was also the reason why he went to visit Yang Xie and chat with her. Okay. Thank you, Suyang, I will definitely not let you work in vain. My little sister has never been married. I hope you can spend more time with her during her last days. Please, okay? I beg you. Sister Lee. Don't worry, I will. No matter what, although this is a business, Yang Xie is Suyang's real wife. No matter what, Suyang will definitely spend more time with her. Otherwise, he would really feel uncomfortable in his heart. Chapter 7. Suyang, are you here to see your wife again? After chatting with the old lady, Suyang no longer had any plans to rest. So I thought about going to the hospital early to see Yang Xie. After all, I have already promised her, so let's go there early. After packing up a little, I went out. At 3:30 in the afternoon, he came to Ward 6 in the intensive care unit again. Because Yang Xie's situation is special, he can come in at any time. Suyang, are you here to see your wife again? As soon as I entered the ward, I saw the young nurse again. Suyang smiled and nodded, a little embarrassedly. He is a young man in his early 20s, and he married a wife who is the same age as my mother. It's newsworthy indeed. Maybe the whole hospital already knows about their marriage for good luck. Okay, then you guys chat first. I won't disturb you too. Just call me if you have anything. Okay, thank you, doctor. Having said that, the young nurse left the ward with a smile. Wife, I come to see you again. Suyang sat on the chair at the head of the bed and reached out to hold Yang Xie's little hand. It seemed that her little hands were not so cold anymore, and seemed to have a little more warmth. Honey, do you miss me? Do you know, wife? Actually, your husband came to bring you good luck. An old lady named Lee found me, and then we got married. Real wife. Until now, I still feel like I'm dreaming. You see, I'm about to graduate from university, and now I have a wife and have found a job. Am I extremely lucky? Suyang spoke gently while caressing Yang Xie's small hand. As he touched her, he moved up to touch her arm. The soft and weak arms are cool to the touch. A hand was stroking Yang Xie's arm, and Suyang suddenly felt her little hand move again. It was obvious that she gently held Suyang's hand. Honey, your hands are moving again. That's great, let's keep going, okay. As Suyang spoke, he stroked her arm, then moved upwards and soon touched her shoulder. Soft and tender shoulders, very thin. If I go a little higher, I can touch her face. Her face is pale and she is quite thin. Suyang felt heavy in his heart and uncomfortable after seeing this. Although he knew that this was a transaction, the two of them had become husband and wife after all. He didn't know why, but he felt that the two of them seemed to be tied together by an invisible chain. Honey, can I touch your face? You are so beautiful. If we weren't in the hospital, I would definitely kiss you. I didn't even kiss you when we got married on Monday. If you don't say anything, I'll take it as your consent. Suyang stroked Yang Xie's little hand and said gently. A moment later, Suyang plucked up his courage and reached out to touch Yang Xie's little face. Well, it is also cool, soft and thin. Wife, you are so beautiful, please wake up soon, and get better soon, so that I can cook for you every day. Wife, I heard from that old lady Lee that you have never been married. I never thought that I could marry such a beautiful sister like you. I am so happy. Suyang touched Yang Xie's little face and for a moment he didn't want to let go. Although it is very thin, it feels soft and comfortable. Suyang's other hand was holding Yang Xie's little hand. Suddenly he felt movement again. And she held his hand gently. It seemed that the temperature on my hands had risen a little. Oh my god. Chatting with her actually works. And the effect is quite obvious. They had not been chatting for long in the afternoon, but her little hand was able to hold Suyang's hand. Although it was only a few seconds of shaking hands, it was definitely an active handshake. Honey, you're so great, can we keep trying? Feeling Yang Xie's weak reaction, Suyang couldn't help but feel happy. If it's really like what the doctor said. If her will to survive becomes stronger, maybe she can really get better. In this way, maybe he can really get the 2 million. As for when this aunt really recovers, their marriage will probably come to an end. Of course, Soo-young would definitely not have any attachment to it. After all, it's just a transaction. Besides, although he can accept relationships between an older woman and a younger man, it still depends on fate, doesn't it? However, the age difference between the two is indeed quite large, so it is actually a bit inaccurate to say that it is a relationship between an older woman and a younger man. Or maybe it would be more accurate to say it's an age gap relationship. Squeak. Soo-young was gently stroking Yang Shir's face when suddenly the door of the ward opened. He was so scared that he quickly let go of the hand that was caressing Yang Shir's face. This action. It seems a bit ambiguous, so it's better not to let outsiders see it. Soo-young turned his head and saw that it was the young nurse who brought the old lady over. Soo-young, thank you so much. Sister Lee, you're welcome. I'll go. I'll find the doctor on duty. As soon as Soo-young greeted the old lady, the young nurse couldn't help but let out a slight scream, then hurried out of the ward. I didn't expect you to be so dedicated. Well, of course she should. The doctor said that talking more would be good for her recovery. And we still have the 2 million. Soo-young smiled faintly. As for having a romantic relationship with this cheap wife, that's definitely not the case. At most, it is an invisible responsibility. After all, the two have become husband and wife. If you want to give a reason, perhaps the 2 million will be more credible. Well, don't worry, Soo-young, this little money is nothing to me. Actually, having a good time is one thing, but I also hope that there can be a man to accompany my little sister in her last moments. I hope she doesn't feel so lonely in her heart. Why? Soo-young, keep holding her hand, don't let go, it's okay. While the old lady was speaking, Soo-young quietly let go of Yang Shia's little hand. Seeing this, the old lady raised her hand gently. She encouraged Soo-young to be braver. This older sister had never been married in her life. As far as she could remember, she didn't even have a real boyfriend. It seems nice to have a handsome little boy by my side in these last days. Chapter 8. The more he talked, the more disgusting his reaction became. It's okay, Soo-young, just be bolder, if possible you can kiss her too. You should know. You two are now husband and wife, and you are a real couple recognized by the law. After the old lady finished speaking, she actually hoped that Soo-young could be braver. Perhaps Soo-young's bravery will allow her older sister to experience some warmth from a man at the end of her life. Even if I pass away, I can at least make up for some of the regrets. Moreover, Soo-young is a very handsome little boy, so maybe his sister will feel more at ease. Well, I understand, Sister Lee. Upon hearing this, Soo-young nodded awkwardly. For a person who is terminally ill, what good can he do no matter how brave he is? It should be okay to kiss her on the cheek. Besides this, what else can we do further? It seems, there's not much I can do. Unless her illness is cured, I can sacrifice myself and help her relieve decades of loneliness. But is this really possible? The doctor has already issued a notice of critical illness. The possibility of recovery is very small. Okay, thank you for your hard work, Soo-young. I won't disturb you two anymore. The old lady saw that Soo-young answered very seriously, and a look of relief appeared in her eyes. After saying that, she got up and went back. It only took 10 minutes from the time I came into the time I left. Soon, Soo-young and Yang Shir were the only ones left in the ward. Wife, this old lady Lee shouldn't be your biological sister, right? After all, her last name is Lee and yours is Yang. She went back. Now there are only two of us left in the room. Soo-young reached out and held Yang Shia's small hand again, and the gentle voice began again. Since the chat was effective, he naturally had to act more professionally. It doesn't matter whether there are any emotions or not, I'm just an actor now. Just treat Yang Shia as the person you love the most. Let every word you say be filled with love. Perhaps only in this way can Yang Shia recover faster. Wife, can I call you baby? Although you are the same age as my mother, I still want to call you baby. Because you are my Soo-young's wife. Soo-young said this and couldn't help scratching his scalp. To be honest, when I said these words, my scalp felt numb and my hair seemed to stand on end. It really feels a bit weird to gently call someone who is the same age as my mother baby. Huh. Su-yang clearly felt that Yang Xia's little hand was holding his hand again. The temperature in my hand seemed to increase a little. Obviously, Yang Xia's vitality seemed to be increasing little by little. Baby, I feel like you're about to wake up. Good baby, try harder. Su-yang leaned close to Yang Xia's ear and deliberately shouted some cheesy words, hoping that she could hear it more clearly. My dear, you are so beautiful. As he spoke, Su-yang's hand touched her little face again. The temperature on my face also increased. Seem. Her face turned slightly red. Is this what she's excited about? She has never had a boyfriend in decades, but she couldn't help but get excited by such cheesy words. I have never experienced the tenderness of a man. Is this my first time experiencing it? Oh my god. In fact, for Su-yang, this was the most disgusting thing he had ever said to a woman since he was a child. His scalp was always numb, it felt so strange. Wife, you say, it would be nice if you woke up. I really want to hold you in my arms and kiss you. Su-yang gently stroked Yang Xia's face, then her lips and her slender white neck. This. He clearly felt that Yang Xia's body temperature was rising. Her face also became noticeably redder. Boom boom boom, squeak. When Su-yang heard the knock on the door, he quickly let go of the hand that was stroking her neck. It is better to do this kind of action in private. If others see it, everyone will be embarrassed. Another nurse came in. Hello handsome boy, you are Su-yang, right? Well, hello, Dr. Sister, I am Su-yang. Oh, you see. Su-yang smiled and nodded to the nurse, then pointed to the hand held by Yang Xia. The patient is holding your hand. Her heartbeat is obviously accelerating. Let me take her temperature. This nurse is obviously more professional. After she looked at the monitor, she immediately went to get the thermometer. After a while, she returned to the ward and started measuring Yang Xia's temperature. Yes. Their vital signs are really getting stronger. By the way, Dr. Sister, can you give my wife some more nutrition now? Will she recover faster if she gets more nutrition? Well, theoretically speaking, yes, I'll ask the doctor on duty later. If you can wake her up and feed her, that would be even better. Yeah, I'll try my best. Until now, Yang Xia's little hand has been holding Su-yang's hand. Although the force was weak, he was indeed holding on. The nurse did a quick check and then left the ward. Su-yang continued to get closer to Yang Xia and said cheesy love words. He also knew that what he said was indeed very corny, but Yang Xia had a clear reaction to the corny words. It seems that the more disgusting it is, the bigger the reaction. And the more gently I touch her face, lips, neck, and other places, the greater her reaction seems to become. Of course, Su-yang did not go any further, especially below the neck. He was indeed a little embarrassed to do it. Yang Xia's reaction is indeed getting bigger and bigger, but I don't know whether she is excited or depressed. She is a 42-year-old woman. Being called wife and touched by a 22-year-old boy, it's really weird when you think about it. Some women may enjoy it, while others may get extremely angry. As for Yang Xia, she has never had a boyfriend in all these years. Does that mean she doesn't like men? So now such a big reaction. Su-yang couldn't figure out whether she was excited or angry. Wife, the doctor said that talking to you more will be good for your recovery. Actually, I don't know how to talk. If something I said makes you unhappy, please don't be like me, okay? But what I said, they are all sincere. I've never really had a boyfriend in my life. I never thought, I am now a married person. Really, my dear, I really hope you can wake up, and I really want to hug you and kiss you. Su-yang has become very proficient in saying these words. As for whether he is sincere or not, just listen to him sincerely. Chapter 9 Flirting in the Ward. Time passed little by little, and soon it was 5 o'clock in the afternoon. Honey, it's already 5 o'clock in the afternoon. I plan to go back to school first. Can I come and accompany you tomorrow morning? Baby. You should also try your best so that when your husband sees you tomorrow, you will have already woken up, okay? Su-yang gently kneaded Yang Xia's little face and spoke softly. It was getting late, he should go back. It's still an hour's drive from the hospital to the school. Wait until tomorrow, have breakfast and then come over to accompany her. As the days passed, Su-yang would come to the hospital whenever he had time. Every time he came, he would gently hold Yang Xia's little hand and speak softly, either affectionately or flirtatiously. Yang Xia's vital signs were recovering at a speed visible to the naked eye. Anyway, as long as Su Yan holds her little hand and speaks gentle words, Yang Xia's little face will turn red. If you say it in a more corny and flirtatious way, then her reaction would be even greater, and she would hold Su Yang's hand even tighter. In the blink of an eye, the day of leaving school has arrived, and the students are preparing to start packing their things. At noon that day, Su Yang had just returned to the dormitory from the hospital. Su Yang, where are you going to rent a house? How about we share a house? Zhang Ming and Su Yang now work in the same place, so it is more appropriate for them to share a house. Sure, I think so too. Why don't we find a house as soon as possible? It is graduation season now, and it is not easy to rent a house. The price is expected to be higher than usual. Or, why don't we look for one near the company? It's more convenient to go to work if it's close to the company. Oh my god. Our company is located in a commercial center. The rent there is too expensive, isn't it? Upon hearing this, Zhang Ming shook his head like a rattle. That place is basically full of office buildings, and any accommodation nearby is not cheap anyway. The two of them had just started working and didn't have much money to rent an expensive house. Oh, that's right. I'll look for it. Su Yang turned on his cell phone and started looking for a house near the hospital and company. Judging from Yang Xia's condition during this period, her vital signs have stabilized and she is still quite strong. But for some unknown reason, she never woke up. The doctor also felt a little puzzled. According to the old Chinese doctor, she was reluctant to wake up, perhaps because she had something on her mind. When Su Yang learned about this situation, he had the idea of chatting with her for a long time. Oh shit. I've already looked around the area near my company. The closest and cheapest one is Yangshire Community, and it's an old, run-down community. Oh? Yangshire Community. Su Yang couldn't help but feel moved when he heard this. Yes, it's the same as the Yang in sun and the Shire in summer. If you don't believe me, check it out. Okay, let me see. Su Yang opened the house rental app and quickly found houses in Yangshire Community. There are whole house rentals and shared rentals. I think this place is okay. How about we share a master bedroom? Ask the agent to get 2 single beds for us. Su Yang soon discovered that this place was not far from a hospital. If you want to see Yangxia, it is quite convenient. That's fine. This place is pretty close to the company. Zhang Ming had no objection to this. Now that I have secured a job and it is time to leave school, I really need to find a place to live as soon as possible. Okay, how about we go look at the house now? No problem. The two hit it off immediately. I quickly left the school and took the bus to Yangshire Community. I contacted the agency on the way and agreed to go see the house. The two of them went through a very smooth process of house hunting. After looking at 2 places in the community, they decided on a master bedroom. I quickly went to the agency and rented the room. In the afternoon, the agency will replace the double bed with 2 single beds. Tomorrow, the 2 of them can move in. Zhang Ming, I have to go to the hospital to see a friend. Why don't you go back to school first? Su Yang, I see you've been going out a lot lately. You always smell like a hospital. Did you find a job as a nurse in the hospital? Oh my god. You have a very rich imagination. We are going to work in the company the day after tomorrow. What kind of a caregiver am I? How about I go to the hospital with you? What kind of friend is this to you? Is he worthy of your visit every day? Oh. He's a relative from my hometown. You know, it's a relative thing. I have to help him. Su Yang naturally would not tell Zhang Ming the truth. He couldn't say that he was married to an old aunt who was dying. So I just made up a lie. Oh, so that's how it is. Okay then, I'll go back to school and we'll move early tomorrow morning. Okay, Zhang Ming. Su Yang nodded and quickly separated from Zhang Ming. After leaving Yangshire Community, Su Yang took the bus at the gate and went straight to the hospital. By the time he arrived at the hospital, it was already 3:30 in the afternoon. If he wasn't renting a house, he would definitely come earlier. Wife, I went to rent a house today. The name of the community is very interesting, it's called Yangshire Community. There is a character from my name, and there is a character from your name. Honey, do you think this means that we are destined to be together? As he spoke, Su Yang's hand touched Yang Xia's little face. Soon, her little face turned slightly red again. The temperature also rose significantly. Baby, can I call you Xia Xia? Or should I call you Xiao Xia baby? Su Yang leaned against the head of the bed and whispered flirtatious words. Yang Xia's little hand moved and quickly held his hand again. Knock, knock, knock. Just as Su Yang was about to touch her neck, the door of the ward was knocked again. Then a young nurse came in with a woman. The woman looked to be in her 30s, very beautiful, and gentle and well behaved. Su Yang, a friend of your wife is here to see her, you guys can chat, call me if you need anything. Well, thank you, Dr. Sister. Su Yang nodded, turned his head and looked at the strange woman again. He gently stroked Yang Xia's little hand and did not let go even though this person came in. You are married. The woman looked at Su Yang, sizing him up and down. Then he looked at Yang Xia in a daze, with an indescribable apology in his eyes. Yes, hello, sister, are you Yang Xia's friend? Yes, she and I are very good friends. The woman nodded, her voice a little low, and there seemed to be a hint of unfathomable meaning in her words. Chapter 10. Although this woman is beautiful, she is also very strange. Oh. Su Yang looked at the woman in front of him and felt that her expression was a little strange. But I can't tell exactly what's weird about it. Your name is Su Yang. Yes, I do. He seemed to sense that the woman did not believe that they were married, so he reached for his backpack and pulled out the marriage certificate. Look. So you guys are really married, okay, then I feel relieved. The woman looked at the marriage certificate in her hand and nodded slightly. There seemed to be a hint of relaxation in his eyes. Although the woman's voice was very soft, Su Yang still heard it clearly. What does it have to do with you whether we get married or not? What else are you worried about? Sister, what is your name? My name is Li Pingping. Oh, Li Pingping. Su Yang nodded. It was useless to know the name, as he didn't know what kind of friendship this woman had with Yang Xia. Wife, there is a girl named Li Pingping who is here to see you. Su Yang held Yang Xia's little hand, moved closer to the head of the bed, and said gently. Suddenly, Yang Xia grabbed Su Yang's hand with much greater force than before. It seemed like she had a very strong reaction to the name. What's wrong, honey? Do you want to talk to this Li Pingping? Su Yang said gently, turning his head to look at Li Pingping beside him. So strange. Why did he feel that there seemed to be something going on between Li Pingping and Yang Xia? Is there a favor? A grudge? Or? Su Yang couldn't understand it at all for a moment. Yang Xia, congratulations on your marriage. Your husband is really handsome. Li Pingping hesitated for a moment, then gently came to the head of the bed, bent down and spoke softly to Yang Xia. Really, Yang Xia, please forgive me for my past mistakes. Now that you are married, I hope you can get better soon. I came here today because I heard that you got married, so I came to see you. Real. Your husband is very young and handsome, congratulations. I won't bother you two anymore, bye. After Li Pingping finished speaking, she stood up. Su Yang saw it at a glance, and Yang Xia's eyelids moved. It seemed as if he was trying hard to open his eyes. Moreover, her little hand seemed to have gained more strength as she held Su Yang's hand. Tap tap tap. Li Pingping walked to the door of the ward, looked back at Yang Xia, nodded at Su Yang, then opened the door and left. Wife. The girl named Li Pingping just left, baby. She was your good friend before, right? Su Yang knew from Li Pingping's words just now that this young lady must have offended Yang Xia before. Otherwise, I wouldn't have asked her to forgive me. Baby, don't worry. When you wake up, let's go play with her together, okay? Seeing Yang Xia's eyelids moving constantly, he knew that she really wanted to wake up, even anxious to wake up, so he gently tried to comfort her. He reached out and touched her little face, caressing it gently. Honey, I think that girl is pretty, but she's not as pretty as you, darling. But judging by her temper, she should be okay. Did she do something to offend you in the past? But, from what I see, this person doesn't seem like a bad person. Although Su Yang felt strange, he still couldn't guess what had happened between the two of them in the past. But I always feel that there must be something going on between the two of them. Until now, these things may not have been solved yet. Xia baby, I feel like you're about to wake up. Your husband is so happy. Su-Yan touched Yang Xia's face and gently stroked her neck. Not long after, Yang Xia's eyelids stopped twitching. It seems that Su-Yan's comfort worked. Time passed bit by bit, and soon it was 6 o'clock in the evening. Baby, I have to go back to school first. I have to move tomorrow morning, so I may be a little late. Don't miss me too much. Su-Yan gently scratched Yang Xia's nose, then let go of her little hand. Squeak. Just when Su-Yan wanted to leave, the young nurse walked into the ward again. Doctor sister, my wife's eyelids moved just now. They moved for a while, but she didn't open her eyes. Real. Yeah, and her grip on my hand got much stronger. I always felt like she could wake up at any moment. Okay. Great, I'll talk to the attending physician in a moment. Thank you so much, Doctor Sister. Goodbye. Su-Yan put on his backpack, waved to the nurse, and left the ward. This handsome boy, it would be great if he was my boyfriend. He is very patient and has a good temper. The young nurse looked at Su-Yan's back, and her eyes couldn't help but sparkle with little stars. Left the hospital, took the bus, and rushed back to school. Graduated. He suddenly felt that the university where he had spent for years seemed to be far away from him. Now my mind is filled with the work that is about to begin, and even more so, Yang Xia, whose vitality is growing stronger and stronger. He didn't know why. After spending some time with her, he seemed to have gotten used to this older sister who suddenly appeared in his life. She was bedridden and couldn't even wake up. But she seemed to be already in Su-Yan's life. More than half a month has passed since their wedding day. Yang Xia's condition is getting better and better now. As expected. It is entirely possible to survive beyond 3 months. Maybe her body can recover. Ding ling ling. As Su-Yang walked into the campus, his cell phone rang. It turned out to be the old lady who called before. Hello? Hello, Sister Lee. Su-Yang, you are going to graduate, right? Oh, yes, Sister Lee, we have graduated and I will leave school and move tomorrow. So, where do you live? Do you want me to help you find a place to stay? No, my classmates and I rented a room together near the hospital, which is big enough for us. Thank you. In matters other than business, Su-Yang didn't want to take advantage of anyone. So, I calmly refused the old lady's help. He could also tell that the old lady really wanted to help him. Chapter 11. The more ambiguous the conversation, the faster you wake up. Oh, Su-Yang, I have the key to my sister's house. She also has a car, why don't you live with her? You're already married anyway. The old lady hesitated for a moment, then continued to ask. No need, Sister Lee, as long as Yang Xia is still alive I will definitely visit her often. By the way, she has been in good condition recently. When I saw her today, her eyelids moved for a while, as if she could wake up at any time. Su-Yang once again declined the old lady's help. The reason why he is taking the trouble to chat with Yang Xia is nothing more than the lingering sense of responsibility in his heart. After all, the two are already married, and she is Su-Yang's wife. So he felt that it was his duty to chat with her. As for the other money, belongings and the old lady's help, that had nothing to do with him. Well, I know all this. The doctor has already told me. Thank you so much, Su-Yang. You are such a good boy, I wish my sister had met you earlier. The old lady expressed her gratitude again, and there seemed to be something else hidden in her words. Early the next morning, after Su-Yang and Zhang Ming had breakfast, they started packing their things. And also called a small van. By the time the move was completed, it was already 11 o'clock in the morning. Su-Yang, shall we go out for a drink? Now that I have graduated from college, found a job, and settled down, I think it is worth celebrating. Oh my god. It's already 11 o'clock. Wiping his sweat off his forehead, Su-Yang looked at the time and found that it was already noon. Zhang Ming, I have to go to the hospital and I don't have time to eat. I'm so sorry. Oh, it's okay. Then go ahead. I see there are quite a few small shops at the entrance of this community, so I can go and enjoy them by myself. Har har har, okay, then go and enjoy it. Su-Yang said this and hurried to the bathroom in the master bedroom and tidied it up a bit. Not long after, he left home with Zhang Ming. Without even having time to eat lunch, Su-Yang took the bus to the hospital. He couldn't explain why, He just wanted to see Yang Xia as soon as possible and chat with her more. Maybe it's because they are husband and wife, or maybe it's just for the 2 million. Yang Xia community is very close to the hospital, and he arrived at the hospital in a short time. Honey, I'm so sorry. I moved this morning and came here right after I finished packing. I didn't even have time to eat lunch. After entering the ward, Suyang sat down near the head of the bed and gently held Yang Xia's little hand. Huh. Why is this little hand a little warm? This face. It seems to be a little rosier than before. In doubt and surprise, Suyang's hand habitually touched Yang Xia's face. Wow. It's obviously a lot hotter. Wife, is your body recovering? Suyang looked at the door and found that the doctor and nurse were not there. The doctor has already discovered this situation, right? Such an obvious change should be easily noticeable, at least when measuring the temperature. Squeak. Just as I was thinking about it, the door of the ward opened and a young nurse walked over with a smile. Doctor sister, she. Suyang, what did you find? The young nurse looked at Suyang with a smile in her eyes. I noticed that her hands and face were a little warm. Could she have a fever? Puff. The young nurse couldn't help but chuckle when she heard this. No, your wife doesn't have a fever, we have been measuring her temperature and it is normal. I have good news for you. Your wife woke up for a while in the morning. We fed her some food, and she ate quite a bit. Well. Upon hearing this, Suyang suddenly turned his head and looked at Yang Xia. This elder sister. It's really getting better. I woke up. I ate a lot. So, it seems that there will be no problem if I can survive for 3 months. Doctor sister, is she going to recover soon? Well, probably. As long as she can wake up like she did today and eat more, she probably won't have to stay in the ICU for long. Oh. Suyang couldn't help but get excited when he heard that. I really didn't expect this. A miracle actually happened. Her body functions were very weak and she was in a deep coma when she was sent to the hospital. Before, I had to take nutritional injections and glucose to maintain my health. According to Dr. Wang, an old Chinese doctor, she just didn't want to live anymore. Therefore, as long as her will to survive can be stimulated, she will be able to recover. The doctor had told him some of this before, so he probably understood it. Only. He really couldn't understand why such a mature and beautiful elder sister didn't want to live anymore. She must have suffered some kind of blow before. And this blow should be very, very heavy. You two continue chatting. I won't disturb you two. The young nurse stayed for a while and left the ward after the examination. Wife. Suyang stroked Yang Xia's little hand and suddenly felt a little nervous. Oh my god. Will this big sister wake up at any time? My wife keeps calling me wife all the time. When she wakes up, will she scold me for molesting her? She probably doesn't know that she's married yet, right? If you suddenly hear a little boy calling her his wife, will you be scared? Honey, can you hear me? If you can, just hold my hand, okay? Suyang came forward, his voice as patient and gentle as usual. But Yang Xia did not respond. Good baby. Xia baby. Then, Suyang's words became more ambiguous. His hand then touched Yang Xia's face. Well. Her face seemed to get even hotter, and there seemed to be a blush on it. Suddenly, Yang Xia's hand moved violently. However, it only moved for a moment and then stopped moving. Baby, the doctor just told me that you woke up this morning and ate a lot. Your husband is so happy. Let's keep working hard, okay? When you get better, your husband will definitely make delicious food for you every day. Xia honey, do you know? You are the most beautiful girl I have ever seen. Really, your husband really didn't lie to you. As he was speaking, Suyang suddenly felt his hand being held by Yang Xia. Chapter 12, Dating as Exercise, Having a Child as an Experiment. Wife, did you hear me? Suyang was startled and his hands began to tremble. Can she really hear what I say? I go to. Isn't this embarrassing? This is an aunt who is the same age as my mother. Calling her a little darling, I feel a little embarrassed. Oh, sis, can you hear me? In order to avoid embarrassment, Suyang changed the address to sister. Anyway, there will be no problem in calling her sister. Sister. Su-yang gently squeezed her little hand and called her sister carefully. But after staying for a while, Yang Xia did not have any other reaction. It seemed that her holding my hand was just a simple reflex. Slowly, Su-yang relaxed. Wife, you scared me, I really thought you were awake. Really, I really hope you wake up, but I don't know how to face you when you wake up. Why? In fact, I also know that once you truly wake up, you will definitely divorce me. After all, I am just a tool to bring good luck. As Su-yang spoke, he couldn't help but sigh slightly. He didn't know why he sighed, maybe Yang Xia had already gotten used to it in his life. At least during this period of time, he wanted to chat with her more and more. Time goes by little by little. Before I knew it, it was 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Honey, I haven't eaten lunch yet. I'm going out to eat something, and then I'll come over to accompany you later. You have to be a good boy too, okay? Wake up more often and eat more, okay? Okay, baby, my husband is going to eat, see you later. After saying that, Su-yang stood up and let go of Yang Xia's little hand. Afternoon. Su-yang chatted with her for another half of the afternoon, and it was not until almost 5 o'clock in the afternoon that he was ready to leave. Wife, I'm going to work tomorrow. I work for a clothing company that's quite close to here. After get off work at noon and in the evening, I probably have some time to come and accompany you. Okay baby, I'm going home. After leaving the hospital, Su-yang went straight back to his newly rented house. Oh my god, Su-yang, you've been out for most of the day, what kind of patient are you seeing? You're not really going to be a caregiver, are you? As soon as he returned home, Zhongming smelled the smell of the hospital emanating from Su-yang. No, I just went to chat with the patient. The doctor said that chatting more is good for the patient's recovery. Oh. Doesn't the patient have any other family members? It must be so tiring for you to go to the hospital every day like this. Oh, yeah, no family members. Upon hearing this, Su-yang just responded vaguely. After all, this matter is really not suitable to be told to Zhongming. So, you really had a hard time. It's okay. We are all relatives, it's only natural. Let's go, Zhongming. I'll buy you a drink. Su-yang looked at the time and thought that they could have something delicious to eat and have a drink together now. I have more than 400,000 yuan in my pocket now, so I don't need to be too frugal right now. Real. It's a must. Har, let us go. As they talked, they left the house together. Soon, the two of them entered a small restaurant on the small street outside the community. Ordered 2 dishes and 2 bottles of beer. Tomorrow is the first day of work, so it's not suitable to drink too much, just a small drink will be enough. Why? Come on, brother, let one go first. After filling the cup, Zhongming picked up the cup and couldn't help but sigh softly. What's wrong? Why are you sighing? The two clinked their glasses and drank it all in one gulp. It's all because of Li Feifei, eh? What happened to Li Feifei? Aren't you two getting along well? And you stayed in Jiangcheng for her. She said yesterday that if we get married in the future, I have to buy a house in Jiangcheng. I just graduated now, where can I get the money to buy a house? And he also said that he would prepare a betrothal gift of 500,000 yuan. As Zhongming spoke, he poured himself another glass and drank it. A 100 square meter house in Jiangcheng costs more than 2 million yuan. I don't have that much money even if I sell it. And also said, just give me 2 years. If you can prepare these, we can get married. If you can't prepare, then there's no hope for us. After hearing what Zhongming said, Su-yang couldn't help feeling helpless. Earn 2.5 million in 2 years. It costs 1.25 million a year, which means more than 100,000 a month. Moreover, this is after tax. How can a fresh graduate earn so much money? With your mouth. If they really stick to this condition, then the relationship between the two people will be over now. Why? I regret falling in love. If I don't have a partner, I won't have these concerns or these worries. Just like you now, being single is so good, why would I want to fall in love? Su-yang heard this and twitched his lips silently. Brother, I am not single anymore, I am married, okay. And my wife is still lying in the hospital bed at this moment. Although I don't have to pay for the various expenses, I also have concerns, okay? Zhongming, you have to think like this. Think about it, if you and Li Feifei get together, it means lovers finally get married. If that doesn't work, well, you were just using other people's wives to gain some experience in love. Besides, you've slept with each other many times, right? How great is this? She is someone else's wife anyway, so you won't suffer any loss. As the old saying goes, dating is an exercise, having a child is an experiment. Su Yang said, and couldn't help but smile. Oh shit. What you said does make some sense. But, I already treat her as my wife now. If we can't make it, wouldn't that mean she would become someone else's wife? It's very painful to think about it. Well, that's right, what Zhangming said makes a lot of sense. But there is still 2.5 million away from becoming my real wife. What can I do? With your physique, you can't make much money standing on the street. By the way, Su Yang, your body, why don't you go pick up a rich woman? When you make a lot of money, just support me a little bit. Chapter 13. Just after joining the company, something went wrong. TSK. There's no such good thing. I also want this rich woman, even if it's a second marriage. These days everyone wants to find a rich woman, it's too much. Su Yang smiled and twitched the corners of his mouth, then shook his head slightly. Yang Xia's image instantly appeared in my mind again. This big sister. Will she be a rich woman? Su Yang knew basically nothing about her. He knew that the old lady was her sister, but he had no idea how close the relationship was. Looking at the old lady, she seems to be very elegant and shouldn't be a simple person. And when she got married to Yang Xia that day, someone called the old lady Ms. Li. It seems that this old lady is probably a rich woman. But I don't know whether Yang Xia is a rich woman. Why? Zhang Ming smiled bitterly and raised his glass to clink with Su Yang's. These days, finding a rich woman is just a dream, it is too rare in reality. The next day, both of them got up early. After washing and packing, we went out for a quick breakfast and then took the bus to the company together. Signing contracts, packing up workstation computers, etc. After working for half the morning, I finally finished everything. Su Yang, please go to the design department on the 5th floor. A computer can't be turned on. Director Wang from their department just called and told me so. Su Yang had just sat down and took a sip of water when the head of the department came over. Okay, boss. I'll go right away. The director of the network department is surnamed Li, he is in his 30s and has a good temper. Colleagues in the department call him boss, so Su Yang also called him that. Well, this is a work order. Just have them sign it when you're done. Okay, boss. Su Yang took the work order and understood at a glance that it was just a simple work record sheet. The boss assigned him work right away, which was probably a test for him. After getting the work order, Su Yang went directly to the 5th floor. Oh my god! There are so many beautiful women. This is the design department of the group, and most of the people coming and going are beautiful girls of all kinds. There are indeed a lot of girls in clothing companies. Su Yang glanced around and soon found the director's office. Since it's the director of the design department who called, it's definitely the right person to call. Mr. Li, have you approved the application form I sent you? We are very anxious now. Oh, I see, Mr. Li. Can you please hurry up? This is affecting our work. Su Yang stood at the door, listening to the sound of a phone call coming from inside. He didn't knock on the director's office door until he finished the call. Come in. Squeak. Following a clear female voice, Su Yang reached out and pushed open the door. It turned out to be a beautiful older sister who looked to be in her early 30s. Hello, Director Wang. I'm from the network department. I heard that one of your computers can't be turned on, is that correct? Yeah, that's right, come with me, are you new here, young man? Director Wang's eyes lit up when he saw Su Yang coming in. This new guy in the network department is very handsome. It's just that the clothes are too simple. Yes, Director Wang, I just joined today, my name is Su Yang. Well, how old is the boy? I just graduated this year. I'm 22 now. Oh, so young, come to Su Yang, add my WeChat. If there is any problem with the computer in our department in the future, I will contact you directly. Okay, Director Wang. Su Yang didn't think much about it, and the two of them quickly added each other on WeChat. Afterwards, Director Wang took Su-yan to the colleague whose computer couldn't turn on, made some arrangements, and left. After checking it out, he quickly identified the problem: the monitor cable was loose. After plugging it back in, the computer worked fine. After asking this colleague to sign the work order, Su-yan left. After handing in the work order to his boss, Su-yan returned to his workstation. Su-yan, is it resolved so quickly? Yeah, the monitor cable is loose, it's a small matter. Su-yan, have you noticed that there are so many beautiful women in our company? Well, Su-yan couldn't help but smile when he heard that. Indeed, I just went to the design department and saw a lot of beauties. Even their director is a beautiful lady. Really? Oh my god, I just like big sisters. Come on, such a beautiful elder sister must have been married a long time ago, how could she keep her for you? Besides, don't you still have Li Feifei? Why? Millions of dollars, brother. You can't ask me to sell my kidney, right? Even if I sell my kidney, I can't make that much money. After hearing what Su-yan said, Zhongming couldn't help but sigh. By the way, I just went out to smoke and heard a piece of gossip in the stairwell. Oh? What news? Su-yan turned on his computer and prepared to download some software development tools so that he could continue learning about research and development when he was not busy. I heard that the group's CEO is ill. It seems that his illness is quite serious. He hasn't been seen for 2 to 3 months. No way. I just started working and received such unfortunate news. I don't know whether the boss's absence will affect the company's operations, and how long I can do this job. It's true. A few people who were smoking together said it. They all looked like old employees. They didn't seem to be lying. Then, nothing will happen to the company, right? Oh my god, we just started working. Who knows? Anyway, it sounds like some people are panicking. Oh. Su-yan couldn't help feeling depressed when he heard this. I just started working and I encountered something like this. This luck is really unbelievable. It's okay, just go with the flow. At worst I can just change jobs. Zhongming was quite open-minded and didn't seem to care too much. Su-yan nodded and didn't think about it anymore. Anyway, he can't change anything about this kind of thing, so he can only let it go. Time passed little by little, and soon it was time to get off work. Let's go to the cafeteria to eat, Zhongming said, reaching out and patting Su-yan on the shoulder. The second floor of the Group's office building is the company's cafeteria, and the food there is relatively cheap. Zhongming, I'm going to the hospital during lunch break, so I won't go to the cafeteria. I can just buy some buns on the way. Su-yan shook his head. He probably would have to queue up to go to the cafeteria and he really didn't have that much time. He had already promised to visit Yangxia at noon, so he didn't want to break his promise. Oh, that's fine. As they talked, they quickly walked towards the elevator. Chapter 14. This elder sister is actually shy. After leaving the company, Su-yan took the number 3 bus at the door. It wasn't long before he arrived at the ICU ward area of the hospital. He is now considered a celebrity here. Doctors and nurses alike will smile and nod when they see him. When I entered Ward 6, I saw Yangxia at first sight. There was a young nurse next to her, who was busy checking and recording something. Su-yan is here, why are you so late today? Doctor sister, I started working today, I rushed here after work. In fact, Su-yan didn't even buy the buns, he just rushed over here. Just be hungry, you can go out for something to eat when you have time in the afternoon. After all, the morning time was too short, so I just told Yangxia that we had to go back in a while. Oh, it's really not easy to work and accompany patients at the same time. It's okay. It's what I should do. Su-yan smiled and nodded, then pulled over a chair and sat beside the bed. He reached out and held Yangxia's small hand. Wow! This little hand is getting warmer and warmer. Doctor sister, did my wife wake up to eat again today? Yes, Su-yan, she woke up twice this morning and ate more than yesterday. The eyes are also noticeably brighter. Very good. After hearing what the nurse said, Su-yan couldn't help but feel pleasantly surprised. Did she speak? That's not the case, but she hears very clearly, and she opens her mouth on her own initiative when I feed her. In a few days, maybe I can get out of bed. This. Oh my god. Suyang couldn't help but feel dazed. Is this elder sister getting better soon? How's it going, Suyang? Are you happy? Your wife is so beautiful. The young nurse said this and couldn't help but cover her mouth and laugh. This older sister is indeed beautiful, but she is indeed too far older than Suyang. It feels like a love affair between people of different ages. It's really interesting to think about it. I don't know if they will get divorced soon after this elder sister wakes up. Yes, she is, indeed quite pretty. Suyang gently stroked Yangshia's small hand, which was warm and felt more and more comfortable. Suddenly, her little hand was holding Suyang's hand again. You two can chat. I'll be out first. Just call me if you need anything. The young nurse quickly finished the task at hand and left the ward. Wife, can you hear me now? I went to work today, the working environment is pretty good. By the way, honey, the company I went to is called Zwelafe Clothing Group, it's quite big. Perhaps Yangxia understood what Suyang said. As soon as he finished speaking, her little hand suddenly trembled. Baby, are you going to wake up? Seeing this, Suyang reached out and touched her face. Their face is really getting more rosy and more comfortable to touch. Then he stroked her lips and neck. Huh. Why does Yangxia's face feel more and more flushed? Seems like he's shy. Wife, how about, why don't you wake up for a while? The doctor said that you've woken up several times and eaten a lot, but I haven't encountered it once, which is a bit of a pity. Suyang gently stroked her neck, then moved down a little to her collarbone. If we go further down, it must be very normal between husband and wife, and no one would say anything. Call. Suyang suddenly felt that Yangxia's breathing became rapid. Her face became redder and redder. Well. Oh my god. Is Yangxia really going to wake up? This reaction is obviously the normal reaction of a woman around a man. Blushing face, shortness of breath. Wasn't she pretending to be asleep? When Suyang thought of this, he couldn't help but shudder. He quickly put his hand down. However, her little hands were still clenched, as if she had gotten used to it. The two held hands together, as if they had accepted each other. Sister, I feel like you seem to have woken up. Are you a little embarrassed to face me now? Actually, it's okay, I really hope you can wake up and face life well. There are so many beautiful things in life, and there must be people worth cherishing. If my sister wakes up and recovers, you can let me go at any time, as long as you are well. Suyang held Yangxia's little hand and spoke gently. The name became sister again. He truly felt that this elder sister might have really woken up. I just don't want to open my eyes now, maybe because I don't want to face him. Sister, if you don't want me to leave, what I said before is still valid. Real. I cook delicious food, I can cook for you every day. Sister, maybe you think there's a big age gap between us, but actually, I really like sisters who are older than me. I can accept that. It's up to you, sister. Suyang scratched his head, feeling conflicted as he thought that they might have to separate soon. The two of them are a real couple, and if they continue to live like this, Suyang seems to be able to accept it. It's okay if she is older, he thinks it's okay and acceptable. I just don't know what this elder sister is thinking. She has never had a boyfriend before, and now here comes a young hunk. I don't know if she can accept it. Sister, I want to kiss your cheek, is that okay? If you don't say anything, then you agree. As Suyang was speaking, he suddenly felt his hand being clenched. It's obvious. Yangxia seemed to have heard what he said and understood it. Now it seems a little nervous. Boo! After Suyang finished speaking, he didn't hesitate at all and kissed Yangxia's face directly. Left once, right once. Call. Yangxia's breathing suddenly became rapid again. His eyelashes also fluttered. Even a faint sound was made. Sister, we are husband and wife now. We have been together for so long, and this is the first time I kiss you. Hey. I will kiss you every day from now on. By the way, I still want to call you my wife, okay? Looking at Yangxia's shy look, Suyang knew that this elder sister should really be recovering. Chapter 15. There are thousands of girls in the world, if this one doesn't work, let us change it. Suyang could feel that this older sister didn't seem to dislike him. Or maybe it's because of chatting with her for so many days that she has slowly become accustomed to my presence. Time passed quickly and Su Yan had to go back. After all, the time at noon was too short and he couldn't chat for much time. Honey, I have to go back home. I have to go to work at 1 p.m. After all, I just started working and I don't want to be late. Can I come and accompany you after I get off work this afternoon? Boo! As Su Yan spoke, he stood up, bent down, and kissed her on the cheek. Hum. Yang Xia made another soft sound, and her face instantly turned red again. Okay, honey, see you tonight. Having said that, Su Yan let go of Yang Xia's little hand and left reluctantly. I don't know why, but it seems that she means more and more in his heart. When I arrived at the company, it was exactly 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Fortunately, I wasn't too late. Su Yan, when I was eating in the cafeteria at noon, I chatted up a young lady. Wow, she was so pretty. As soon as I sat down, Zhang Ming came up quietly. That's awesome. You flirted with a girl on your first day at work. Don't you even consider my level. By the way, Su Yan, with your qualifications, it's too easy to pick up a girl in our company. Zhang Ming patted Su Yan's shoulder with a smile, his eyes revealing indescribable excitement. Oh my god, brother, aren't you sad about Li Feifei's matter? Oh. Millions. What's the point of me feeling bad? The best way to solve the problem is to divert attention. Simply put, that is to change a girl. Admire. Su Yan looked at Zhang Ming and was stunned. This brother is so right. There are thousands of girls in the world, if this one doesn't work, let us change it. Zhang Ming, go to the conference room and connect the projector to the computer for testing. The leader will need it for the meeting. Okay, boss. The two were chatting in low voices when the head of the department came over and assigned tasks to Zhang Ming. Su Yan, go to the design department and look for Director Wang. She said she has something to ask you. Well. Su Yan was stunned when he heard this. Boss, she didn't tell me what she wanted to talk to me about. Whose computer is broken again? Good, let's go check it out. As the boss spoke, he couldn't help but smile and patted Su Yan on the shoulder. But he didn't say what exactly happened. But looking at his smile, I feel that maybe it's a good thing. Okay, boss. I'll be right there. Since the boss has arranged the task, Su Yan naturally cannot be negligent. He quickly left his workstation and rushed to the design department on the 5th floor. Knock, knock, knock. The door of Director Wang's office was open. Su Yan came to the door and knocked twice gently. Director Wang, you called me. Well, come to Su Yan and sit down. When Director Wang looked up, he saw Su Yan at the door and a smile instantly appeared on his face. He waved at him and motioned him to sit in the chair opposite. Thank you, Director Wang. Su Yan nodded and sat opposite her. This elder sister. She is really beautiful, both her face and figure are absolutely top-notch. Why are you being so polite? We are familiar with each other now, right? Director Wang stared at Su Yan's face with an indescribable feeling. Well, now that I've said that, I'm familiar with it. Director Wang, what do you want to talk to me about? Su Yan, I'm a few years older than you. If you don't mind, you can call me Sister Wang, or just call me sister. Well. Since the elder sister has said so, Su Yan naturally cannot be too timid. Okay, Sister Wang. That's right, Su Yan, the reason I asked you to come here is actually because I want you to take some time off to be our temporary model. But don't worry, there will be money every time, and the cost is reasonable. Anyway, it would cost us a lot of money to find male models outside. I feel that you have a good look, figure and temperament, and you can definitely be our male model. Anyway, it doesn't affect your current job, and the income is good. How about it, Brother Su Yan, what do you think? And the cost? When Su Yan heard that there was money, his eyes lit up. Isn't this another way to make money? Not bad. Of course, and the fee is quite high. Don't worry, sister will definitely not treat you unfairly. Director Wang looked at Su Yan, and an indescribable light flashed in his eyes. I don't know if it means appreciation or something else. That's great, thank you, Sister Wang. You're welcome. I'll definitely think of you whenever I have the chance in the future, okay? Okay, Sister Wang. More friends mean more paths. Su Yan didn't think much of Director Wang's help. After all, he does look pretty good, so it's normal for him to be chosen as a model. When he was a temporary boyfriend to girls in the past, they were attracted by his looks. Okay, brother Suyan, these are the things that I want to talk to you about. Since you agreed, just wait for my good news. I'll go to the meeting in a bit. Once the boss approves the funds, we can start the operation. Sister will contact you when the time comes. Yes, okay, Sister Wang. By the way, Sister Wang, I heard that our company's top leader is sick. Is that true? Before Suyarn left, he suddenly thought of this question, so he asked it casually. Oh, about this. I'll tell you when I have time, okay? It's okay, don't worry too much, it won't have much impact on you right now. Oh, okay, Sister Wang, I'll wait for your call. Suyarn smiled and nodded, and soon said goodbye to Director Wang. Walking all the way to the elevator, beautiful women looked at him from time to time, making Suyarn feel a little itchy all over. There are so many beauties. There seems to be some pressure in the woman's sharp gaze. Not long after, Suyang returned to his workstation. After a while, Zhongming also came back. Nailed it. TSK, it's just testing the projector, it's a piece of cake. By the way, Suyang, I saw a senior leader. I saw people around her called her Dong Li. She was an old lady in her 60s. This should be the boss of the group, right? Well. Suyang was stunned when he heard this. He instantly thought of the old lady who gave him 500,000 yuan as a wedding gift. It seemed that people around her also called her Director Li. She is also an old lady in her 60s. This shouldn't be a person, right? Suyang thought about it, and soon stopped thinking about it. Jiancheng is so big, how could such a coincidence happen? Chapter 16. You two are really interesting. But I feel something is weird, as if this old lady doesn't quite look like a top leader in our company. I heard this morning that the company's top leader is seriously ill. This old lady might be a friend or relative of the senior leader. Zhongming thought about it and shook his head. He couldn't figure out what was going on. Oh no. Anyway, this matter has nothing to do with us for the time being. After all, our company is a group company and it won't go bankrupt so easily. After listening to Director Wang's words just now, he felt a little more confident. Since she said there won't be any problem for the time being, then it shouldn't be a big problem. After all, she is a middle or senior leader of the company, and she must know more about these things than others. Yeah, that's true, let's just let it be. As the two were talking, they noticed that the head of the department was walking towards the elevator with his laptop. The boss is probably going to a meeting. He should know about the big boss's affairs, but we just arrived at the company, so it's not easy to ask too much. Well, then don't ask, just wait and see. The two of them looked at the materials given by the boss and chatted occasionally. Time passed little by little, and before I knew it, it was 4 o'clock in the afternoon. The head of the department came back with a calm expression, showing no sign of joy or sadness. The two chatted for a few minutes, but didn't get any valuable information. Soon. It's time to get off work. Suyang, are you still going to the hospital? Yeah. Suyang smiled and nodded, then packed up his things. Okay, I'll go contact the girl I chatted up today and see if we can go watch a movie together tonight. Awesome, har ha har har. Suyang smiled and gave Zhongming a thumbs up, then packed up his things and left. I have to go out and get something to eat. I didn't eat lunch and I'm still very hungry now. After leaving the company, Suyang found a fast food restaurant and ate voraciously. After eating, I took the bus and rushed to the hospital. The road was smooth and Suyang quickly arrived at the ICU ward and entered Yang Xia's ward. Suyang, you're here. As soon as I entered the door, I saw the young nurse was about to leave. Hello, Dr. Sister. Suyang smiled and nodded, then looked at the hospital bed. Has my wife eaten in the afternoon? Yeah, she ate. She ate quite a bit. She's been asleep for a while now. You two can chat about it. Okay, Dr. Sister. As Suyang spoke, he came to the head of Yang Xia's bed, pulled a chair and sat down. He reached out and held Yang Xia's small hand. It's warm and comfortable. Crack. The door of the ward was closed. Wife, I just got off work and came to see you after eating something. Do you miss your husband? There were only 2 people left in the ward. Suyang bravely reached out and touched Yang Xia's face. After a moment, Yang Xia held Su Yang's hand and her face turned pink. His body seemed to tremble slightly. Honey, are you almost well? This ICU ward is quite expensive. Honey, please get well soon. We can go to the ordinary ward later. Although Su Yang doesn't have to worry about Yang Xia's hospitalization expenses, he also knows that ICU is indeed not cheap. If you go to a regular ward, it will be much cheaper. As he spoke, Su Yang gently stroked her neck and collarbone. Then it stopped. Although he wanted to continue exploring, he thought about it and decided to hold back. As Yang Xia recovered, her complexion became better and better, and her thin face became more rosy. It looks more and more delicious. Although she is the same age as Su Yang's mother, she looks much younger than her mother. Not only is it beautiful, but it is also very flavorful. Hum. Su Yang's touch made Yang Xia hum involuntarily again. And it's louder than before. My breathing also became rapid. Baby. Boo. Seeing this, Su Yang couldn't help but feel dazed. It seemed that Yang Xia really woke up, but now she deliberately didn't want to open her eyes. So he stood up, bent down, and kissed her on the cheek. Honey, when you're better, let's go home, okay? Come on, honey. I want to hug you now. Su Yang kissed her face and gently put his arms around her shoulders. Such thin and soft shoulders. Hum. As Su Yang hugged her, Yang Xia couldn't help but let out another soft hum. My breathing became more rapid. Wife, if you recover, will you still want your husband? Su Yang spoke softly, hugging Yang Xia's arms even tighter. Call. Yang Xia's breathing became more rapid. But I just don't want to open my eyes. Xiao Xia wife. Boo. Su Yang hugged Yang Xia for a short while, then gently put her down. Time passed little by little. Su Yang stroked Yang Xia's little hand, and before he knew it, it was 10 o'clock in the evening. Honey, it's 10 o'clock in the evening now. I have to go home. Can I come to see you tomorrow? Seeing that it was getting late, Su Yang kissed Yang Xia goodbye. Days like this passed quickly, and in the blink of an eye, a few days had passed. Every time he came, Su Yang heard the nurse say that Yang Xia woke up and ate a lot, but when the two of them were together, she just wouldn't open her eyes. Today is Saturday. Early in the morning, Su Yang got up, had some breakfast, and then hurried to the hospital. When he walked into ICU ward number 6, he found that there was no one on the bed. Huh. Su Yang was shocked when he saw this. Oh my god. Did Yang Xia get out of bed to go to the bathroom? This. Su Yang's mood suddenly became excited. However, it also became complicated. Once Yang Xia truly recovers, he may face the situation of divorce. Su Yang, your wife is in the general ward, room 203. Go over and take a look. Just as he was excitedly daydreaming, the young nurse walked in. Is she able to talk and walk now? Puff. The young nurse couldn't help laughing when she heard this. In fact, she was able to get out of bed and walk 2 days ago, and of course she can talk, and early this morning, we arranged for her to be admitted to a regular ward. Go check it out. He, you two are really funny. The young nurse said this and started to busy herself with her own work with a smile. Chapter 17. I can't afford to suffer a loss, and I can't afford to be cheated. I'm really good. Oh. After listening to the nurse's words, Su Yang nodded slightly. His mood suddenly changed and he didn't know how to describe it. In fact, he had always hoped that Yang Xia would wake up, and had always hoped that she could live for at least 3 months, or even truly recover. As for whether or not to divorce, he didn't really care. Because from the very beginning, Mrs. Li said that her sister would definitely divorce him. After all, he is just a tool for bringing good luck, and there is no real emotion involved. Only. Su Yang has been chatting with her for so long that he has become accustomed to having such a beautiful aunt in his life. Especially stroking her little hands, saying flirtatious words, or touching her face. Before you know it, this aunt seemed to have entered his heart. He couldn't explain what kind of emotion this was. Or maybe he felt that this kind of free benefits would no longer exist in the future. Su Yang was thinking in a mess and soon walked out of the ICU ward. Not long after. Then we arrived at the general ward area. 203. We arrived on the second floor and quickly found ward 203. Call. Su Yang stood at the door and took a deep breath. I'm about to see Yang Xie wake up. She wouldn't not recognize me, right? Will she be embarrassed when she sees me? Can I still call her my wife? Can I still hold her little hand and kiss her? For a moment, Suyang couldn't help but feel conflicted. However, he still raised his hand and knocked gently on the door. Knock, knock, knock. As the knock on the door sounded, there was suddenly a rustling sound in the house, and then there was no sound. Come in. An old lady's voice was heard. It seemed to be that old lady Li. Suyang stretched out his hand and pushed open the door. This is a single room, and it's quite large. The person lying on the hospital bed was Yang Xie, her face flushed and she seemed to have an indescribable expression. Sitting next to the bed was old lady Li. Hello, Miss Li. Oh, Suyang is here. When Mrs. Li saw Suyang, she couldn't help but smile and nodded. There was an indescribable satisfaction in his eyes. Well, I just found out when I arrived at the ICU that she had actually been transferred to the general ward. That's great. Suyang said as he came to the bedside. Now that the old lady is here, he feels embarrassed to hold Yang Xie's little hand. Suyang, my sister is recovering very well. She can go home after staying for a few more days. Really? Does that mean she's almost getting better? That's great, that's great. Yeah, yes Suyang, thank you so much. Old Mrs. Li nodded and reached into her bag to take out a folder. Suyang, take a look at this. Suyang didn't say anything, just reached out and took it. Divorce agreement. Opening the folder, Suyang saw the big words on the first page at a glance. Well. Sure enough, this day finally came. But no matter what, Yang Xie's illness was finally cured. Suyang, after signing the divorce agreement, I will immediately give you 2 million. Of course, you can also reconsider it. After all, you two are now a legal couple. Besides, my older sister does need someone, but you need to discuss this with her. The old lady looked at Suyang, her eyes seemed to be examining something. There was a hint of expectation in his scrutinizing eyes. I don't know what she is thinking. Suyang looked at Yang Xie lying on the hospital bed, and suddenly an indescribable feeling arose in his heart. The time I spent with her. Although he had never heard her say a word, she left a deep mark in his heart that could never be erased. Sister Li, then, can you let me think about it? Well, of course. Suyang, as far as I know, your family situation is very bad, and this 2 million should allow you to live an easier life. If you think it's too little, I can give you 3 million. After all, you have done a really good job during this period, and my sister has recovered very well because of your company. After all, we have already obtained our marriage certificate, so she and I are husband and wife. Although I don't know who she was before. But she is indeed my wife now. If we want to divorce, I still want to discuss it with her. If she had said let me go, I would have signed in a heartbeat. Sister Li, you can keep this divorce agreement for now. Suyang listened to the old lady's words, then shook his head slightly. These 2 million, or even 3 million, are really tempting to him. With such a large sum of money, life can indeed become much easier. At least my parents back home won't have to work so hard anymore. But compared with Yang Xie in front of him, he seemed to be more reluctant to give up this money. He couldn't tell why. I just felt a little weird in my heart, and always felt that I needed to listen to Yang Xie's opinion. After all, the two people are already legal husband and wife, so it is normal for them to listen to each other's opinions. If Yang Xie also agreed to divorce, he would definitely not think too much about it. After all, he was just doing the job for money. Okay, no problem, then you can talk to my sister. After all, this is a matter between you two. If you are willing to live like this, then I, an old woman, will definitely be happier. As she spoke, Mrs. Li couldn't help but chuckle. Okay, Suyang, you two can chat, I'll be back soon. Feel free to call me if you have anything. Okay, Sister Li. Well, that's good. Soon. The old lady stood up, smiled and left the ward. That, wife. Suyang pulled a chair and sat at the head of Yang Xie's bed. He reached out and grabbed her little hand. Yang Xie closed his eyes and didn't seem to intend to wake up. But her little hand gently held Suyang's hand. Judging from her current state, you don't have to think about it to know that she has already woken up, but just has her eyes closed. Wife, I believe you are awake and should have heard what I just said. For me anyway. I would really like to try it with you. Su-yang gently stroked her little hand, his voice as gentle as ever. I'm young and strong, so I won't feel tired taking care of you, right? I cook delicious food. I can definitely make you plump and white. Although there is a big age gap between us, I like sister-brother relationships the most. Wife. I have a handsome face and a strong body. If you open your eyes and look at me, I believe you will be willing to try it with me. Puff. As Su-yang was speaking, Yang Xia suddenly couldn't help laughing out loud. But he just laughed a little and quickly suppressed it. Well. Seeing this, Su-yang no longer had any doubts. This elder sister is really awake. Chapter 18. Can you call me husband? Quite interesting. It seems that this elder sister is just too embarrassed to open her eyes and face him. Seeing this, Su-yang couldn't help but twitch his mouth. All right. Then I will continue to treat you as if you haven't woken up yet, and we can continue chatting. Xia baby. Judging from her previous reaction, Yang Xia had a good impression of Su-yang. So naturally, his courage grew. Looking at the toothbrush, toothpaste, facial cleanser, etc. on the bedside table, you can tell that she is already able to get up and wash herself. As soon as he stretched out his hand, Su-yang touched Yang Xia's face again, and his lips moved closer. Sniff. Her face is sweet and tender. Boo. He couldn't help but lower his head and kiss her again. Wife, when will you take me home? I am yours anyway. Boo. As he said that, Su-yang gently kissed her cheek again. Until now, he has not kissed Yang Xia's little mouth. In a moment. Her face turned redder and her body trembled slightly. The little hand's grip on Su-yang became stronger and stronger. Call. His breathing became noticeably rapid again. It's like a girl in her first love being kissed by a boy she likes. I was so excited that my whole body was shaking. Xia darling, I know you don't hate me. I've decided that I don't plan to sign the divorce agreement. Although 300 million is a lot of money for me. However, I feel that no matter how much money I have, it is far less than what my wife has. I actually don't care about your age at all. Since God has arranged for us to be together, let us just let nature take its course. When my wife is discharged from the hospital, take me home. Boo. Su-yang's face was pressed against Yang Xia's face, and his voice was extremely gentle. Their warm breaths intertwined together, and the atmosphere suddenly became more ambiguous. While Yang Xia was not paying attention, Su-yang kissed her little mouth. Being suddenly ambushed, Yang Xia couldn't help but tremble all over. With such a good opportunity, Su-yang didn't want her to dodge. He put his arms around her neck. Yang Xia knew very well that she was forcibly kissed by a boy who was 20 years younger than her. She didn't feel anything when she was kissed on the cheek, but when she was kissed on the lips, her mind suddenly became flustered. For a moment, I even forgot to cooperate. But Su-yang is very gentle. He held her neck gently and kissed her slowly, without rushing at all. Call. With the sound of rapid breathing, Yang Xia gradually felt as if he was melting, and he seemed to have no strength left in his body. Not only was she a little embarrassed, but her mind was also in a trance. This little boy. Although she was used to his gentle words and soft caresses. But she has never seen what the boy looks like. The medical staff all said that the young man was very handsome, and my sister also said that he was very good, but these were just hearsay. Without even glancing at her, he kissed her on the lips. Wife. Yang Xia didn't cooperate well, as if she had never been kissed before. He doesn't even know how to open his little mouth. It was just shortness of breath due to excitement. Perhaps because she was used to listening to Su-yang's gentle words in silence, Yang Xia still did not open her eyes. She still has some psychological problems. In fact, she herself is also very contradictory. In order to save her, her elder sister actually used a superstitious method to bring good luck. Without her knowledge, she became husband and wife with a young man she had never met before. As Su-yang was communicating with her, she went from disbelief to shock and gradually got used to his company. But she knew very well. There is a huge age gap between this little boy and me. Even, she is the same age as the little boy's mother. In this way. This made her feel very conflicted. She had no idea how to face this little boy who had become her husband. If we talk about feelings, it can't be said to be a deep one. The main reason is that I'm used to his gentle company. This little boy not only has a good temper, but is also extremely patient. This made her, a woman who had never been in a relationship with a man, feel an experience she had never had before. He is not only gentle, but also funny, and can say some flirtatious words. She also said that he had a great body and could fully meet her various needs. Honey, when I kiss you, can you cooperate? This is my first kiss. Soo-young lay on the head of the bed, still with his face close to Yang Shir's face. Actually, he lied in this sentence. He had been someone's temporary boyfriend before and had been kissed forcibly, so it couldn't be considered his first kiss. Being kissed for money wasn't considered a disadvantage, so he wouldn't mind. Come on baby, if you don't cooperate, I'll take off your clothes. Soo-young knew very well that this older sister had actually accepted him, otherwise she wouldn't be so excited when she kissed her. Otherwise, she would have rebelled long ago. Boo! After saying that, Soo-young kissed her again. The tip of the tongue opened slightly. Yang Shir actually cooperated obediently. This time, Soo-young's heart was filled with joy. It seems that this elder sister really accepted him. After a long kiss, Yang Shir collapsed in Soo-young's arms. Her face had already turned red. Soo-young had also taken off his shoes, sat on the hospital bed, and hugged Yang Shir in his arms. I'll go. This big sister has such a great figure. Although she is very thin now, I already understood her inner thoughts from the kiss just now. It is absolutely inevitable that it has a protruding front and a curved back. It's just that I've been staying in bed for too long, and I've lost a little weight. After some time, she will surely turn into a charming and stunning big sister. Baby, can you call me hubby? Yang Shir snuggled softly in his arms, still pretending to be asleep. His eyes were closed and he said nothing. Well, wife, what do you think about divorce? Since we're married, why don't we try dating for a while, what do you think? If you agree, please don't resist when I kiss you, okay? As Soo-young spoke, the corners of his mouth twitched involuntarily. He knew very well that Yang Shir would definitely not resist. After saying that, he lowered his head and kissed her little mouth again. Wow! There was no need to be reminded. She opened her cherry lips slightly and cooperated immediately. His arms unconsciously wrapped around Soo-young's waist. For this boy, although she had never met him, she had already accepted him in her heart. And from him, she felt an experience she had never had before. This experience. She couldn't help but fall. Chapter 19, Damn. My sister doesn't dare to face you. Knock, knock, knock. Soo-young was lying on his side on the bed, holding Yang Shir in his arms, thinking about what to do next, when he unexpectedly heard a knock on the door of the ward. Oh my god! He was startled and quickly let go of Yang Shir, turned around and got out of bed. Squeak! At the same time, the door of the ward was pushed open. A young and beautiful nurse came in. You? Seeing the messy bed and Yang Shir lying crookedly, the nurse immediately frowned. She didn't know who Soo-young was. The nurses here were not the ones in the ICU ward, and she immediately wondered if the patient had been bullied by this young man. Because Yang Shir looked like he was asleep and hadn't woken up yet. But the bed was unmade and the young man's shoes were not properly put on. Doctor sister, I am a family member of the patient. Oh. Upon hearing this, the nurse immediately understood and let go of her guard. I am the patient's husband. Looking at the nurse's expression, Soo-young quickly explained again. We are a couple, so don't let your imagination run wild as a little nurse. Oh, I remember, your name is Soo-young, right? When the nurse heard Soo-young's explanation, she understood it immediately. Almost all the medical staff in this hospital knew that a 42-year-old female patient registered for marriage with a 22-year-old boy in order to get married. Moreover, this young man was particularly good to this woman who was like his mother. Basically, I visit her every day and chat with her every day. The key point is that this guy is very handsome. This made many young girls feel it was a pity. Yes, Dr. Sister. In order to completely dispel the nurse's suspicion, Soo-young reached out for his bag and took out their marriage certificate. Oh, as expected. Look, I'm your wife's full-time nurse, I'm here to give her a full-body massage. The nurse smiled and nodded, then handed the marriage certificate back to Soo-young. Since they are husband and wife, there is nothing much to say. The nurse came over, helped Yang Xie tidy up the quilt, and then helped her adjust her sleeping position. Then the massage began. Ms. Yang, what do you think of this strength? Yang Xie still didn't say anything and let the nurse massage her. Anyway, the strength is like this, so just go with it. She knew that Su Yang was sitting next to her, and she was really embarrassed to face him. Even speaking, I feel embarrassed. This young boy. My sister has never felt this way before. Oh no. My sister doesn't dare to face you. Ding ling ling. Su Yang was concentrating on watching the nurse's technique when his cell phone suddenly rang. I took it out and saw that it was a call from the head of the department. Hello? Boss. Su Yang, you don't have anything urgent to do right now, right? Boss, what are your plans? Su Yang looked at Yang Xie, whose face was still slightly red, and did not say that he was busy or say anything else to refuse. Our group has received a batch of new computers, which will be delivered downstairs soon. You and Zhongming should come over. Okay, boss, have you contacted Zhongming? Yes, I have contacted you. Come over quickly. We still need to install and debug the computers, which will take quite some time. Oh, okay, boss. I'll be right there. Soon, Su Yang hung up the phone. Okay. Since the boss has assigned a task to me, as a newcomer in the company, it is difficult for me to refuse. Su Yang stood up and walked to Yang Xie, reaching out and holding her little hand. Yang Xie, the head of the department, just called and said that the company has received a batch of computers, and I have to go over to help deal with them. I'll come back to see you after I finish it. I guess it will be afternoon. Because there was a nurse next to him, Su Yang felt a little embarrassed to call her his wife, so he just called her by her name. Anyway, she knows it all and will naturally understand it. After saying that, he gently squeezed Yang Xie's little hand, said hello to the nurse, and left the ward. Hey, Zhongming, my boss just asked me to go to the company to get a new computer. Where are you? After leaving the ward, Su Yang immediately sent a voice message to Zhongming via WeChat. A moment later, his message came back. Fuck. Don't mention it. I was planning to date the girl I talked to yesterday, but I didn't expect the boss to mess it up. So you said you had something going on at home and couldn't go. Forget it, we are all new employees, and we dare not be so tough now. During the trial period, if we make the boss unhappy, we will be finished. Well. You're right. I'm in the hospital with a patient right now. I came here right after hearing the call. Chatting along the way, Su Yang quickly left the hospital and took the bus to the company. Not long. Su Yang rushed to the company and went straight to the office of the department head. Boss. He, Su Yang came pretty quickly. Seeing Su Yang coming, the department head nodded and smiled, and seemed very satisfied with his reaction speed. Go to your workstation and wait. I'll call you when the computer is delivered. Okay, boss. Su Yang nodded, turned around and returned to his workstation. Su Yang, the boss is here. As soon as I sat down, Zhongming came over in a hurry. Yes, in the office. I'll go say hello. Zhongming is also a smart man. After hearing Su Yang's words, he immediately ran to the director's office. Whether you work or not, attitude is very important. After a while, Zhongming also came back and sat down. Why? What happened? Did the date fall through? Su Yang smiled and patted Zhongming's shoulder gently. Yeah, I feel good about that girl. This kind of thing, we have to act quickly, otherwise it will be bad if we are late and someone else gets it. Since you don't have time for a date, you can chat with her more on WeChat. You'll get to know each other after a while. We're talking about this right now, but it's not as exciting as a face-to-face date. Maybe we can go together this weekend. Fuck. Why are you in such a hurry? This way you can occupy it. It would be bad if you were late and someone else took it away. Zhongming sighed unhappily while chatting. But you're worse off than me, you spend all your free time accompanying patients now, and you don't even have time to pick up girls. What a pity. Well. You are right. Su Yang did not refute, but smiled and nodded. Chapter 20. Your wife is old enough to be your mother. Time passed minute by minute, and soon more than half an hour had passed. Su Yang, Zhongming, let's go downstairs. As the two were chatting, the head of the department walked out of the office. While walking quickly, he greeted the two of them. Okay, boss. Upon hearing this, the two did not dare to delay and quickly got up and followed the boss downstairs. After moving the computers, the department head went back. The following matters will be handled by Suyang and Zhongming. Assemble each unit one by one, install the system, etc. Before I knew it, it was noon. After eating the takeaway, the two continued to work. It wasn't until 4 o'clock in the afternoon that all the computers were ready. Such a good Saturday is wasted like this. Zhongming sat on the chair, sighed and shook his head. Let's go bro, I have to go to the hospital. Suyang didn't bother to complain and prepared to rush to the hospital. Now that Yanxia has woken up, interacting with her is becoming more and more interesting. Touching her little hands and face, kissing her little mouth, hugging her, it's so fun just thinking about it. Okay, go ahead. I'll contact that girl and arrange for dinner together tonight. Har har har. I'm leaving Zhongming, go pick up girls, bye. Having said that, Suyang picked up his bag and quickly left in big strides. Now that I haven't visited Yanxia in broad daylight, I really miss her. Especially want to kiss her little mouth. The look on her face as if she was trying hard not to open her eyes was quite amusing. If I go there today, har har har, I'll have to tease her well. Suyang thought happily all the way and soon arrived at the hospital. 203. He arrived at the door of the ward, took a deep breath, and then knocked on the door. Knock, knock, knock. After knocking a few times, footsteps were heard in the room. Squeak. The door opened and a strange woman appeared at the door. Who are you looking for? Oh, I'm looking for Yanxia. Suyang didn't know who this person was. If he guessed correctly, she might be Yanxia's relative or friend. Having said that, he walked straight into the ward. Young man, there is no one named Yanxia here. Before the woman finished speaking, Suyang had already walked into the ward. Where's Yanxia? The person lying on the hospital bed was actually an old man in his 60s. Young man, there is no one named Yanxia here. We just moved in this afternoon. Oh. Suyang looked at all this and couldn't help but be confused. Yanxia had only moved in not long ago, how could she disappear? I guess he changed the ward. Suyang thought about it and felt that changing the ward was the most likely option. Although this ward is a single room, there is no bed for the patient to rest, so they can only sit on a chair. Did she change to another ward because of this? As he thought happily, he walked out of the ward and soon came to the nurse's station. Doctor sister, where is Yanxia in ward 203? She was here this morning. Which ward has she been transferred to now? Oh, the original patient in ward 203 has been discharged. She was discharged at 11 a.m. Discharged from the hospital. Yes sir, I have the records here. He has indeed been discharged from the hospital. But her physical condition. It's okay for her to go home and recuperate in her condition. The nurse didn't say much to Suyang and quickly went about her own business. For a moment, Suyang was stunned. This elder sister. How can you just leave like that? I don't know your contact information yet. And I don't know where you live. Don't you want to see me? Or do you simply not know how to face me? I'm not a bad person. When we meet, the most I will do is hug you and kiss you. If you don't agree, I won't go any further. Besides, your body hasn't fully recovered yet, so it's not really appropriate for you to do anything more advanced. Suyang thought about it, then quickly took out his cell phone, found Mrs. Li's number and dialed it. After a while, the call was connected. Hello, Suyang. Sister, Yanxia, she hasn't recovered yet, why is she discharged from the hospital? Upon hearing this, Mrs. Li laughed softly. Why? Are you worried about her? Suyang was telling the truth. He was indeed a little worried about Yanxia. There are doctors and nurses watching over you in the hospital, so any problems can be dealt with immediately. It's more convenient than going home, right? It was my sister's idea to go home and recuperate, but don't worry, we have a private doctor and a nanny at home, and the care they provide won't be any worse than in the hospital. Oh, that's good. Suyang couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief when he heard that. In that case, there is nothing to worry about. But why didn't Yanxia say hello to me before leaving? Suyan, have you thought about it? When do you plan to divorce my sister? Sister, I've thought it over. As long as Yang is willing to be with me, I will take care of her for the rest of her life. Yang had actually thought of these words a long time ago, so he said them without thinking. Have you really thought about it? My older sister is old enough to be your mother. Well, I've thought about it, and I really want to be with her. Actually, what I know about Yang, apart from knowing her name and her age, everything else, I basically know nothing. But we are husband and wife now after all. Moreover, we have been together for such a long time. Whatever brought us together, I think it was fate for us. What Suyan said was what was in his heart. He really wanted to spend some time with this older sister. After all, a husband and wife once married will be bound by 100 days of grace. Now that you have been married for a long time, you have to get along with each other first. As for the 3 million, we can only give it up. Although I feel a little sad, there is nothing I can do about it. Okay, in that case, I will support you two to try to get along for a while. However, I still need to remind you of something. After hearing Suyan's words, the old lady was still very happy. Sister, you said. My sister is in the hospital because she was emotionally hurt. So, I hope you will treat her well and not let her get hurt again. Oh, don't worry, big sister, I won't do that. After hearing what the old lady said, Suyang immediately became confused. It was said before that Yang Xia had never had a boyfriend, so how did she get hurt emotionally? This feeling, what exactly does it mean? But he didn't ask more questions, because Yang Xia would definitely tell him later anyway. Chapter 21. My sister wants to spend some time with you. Suyang, I have already talked to my older sister today, and she also plans to spend some time with you. Well. Hearing this, Suyang couldn't help but secretly breathe a sigh of relief. This elder sister. It seems that he has already aroused some feelings in me. Perhaps it was because of his strong hug, or perhaps it was because of his slightly experienced kiss, that made her experience a different kind of happiness. However, she needs some time to adjust, that is, she is still a little shy. As she spoke, old Mrs. Lee couldn't help but laugh. Don't worry, Suyang. She will come to you after she has adjusted herself. Oh. This elder sister, really? She is too embarrassed to even see her own husband. Isn't he this too embarrassing? But when I kissed you, you cooperated very well. That soft body, that rapid breathing, those slightly open cherry lips, everything showed that she had truly accepted Suyang. Since we are both like this, why are you still shy? It's okay, Suyang, just work hard, she will probably contact you soon. I can see that. She still likes you very much. Maybe she had some concerns about the age gap. But she also made it clear that she would get along well with you. Yes, I understand, big sister. Soon, the two ended the call. After leaving the hospital, Suyang suddenly felt a little empty. I used to take some time every day to chat with Yanxia, but now, she was suddenly discharged from the hospital. Zhongming, are you dating a girl? After getting on the bus, Suyang sent a WeChat message to Zhongming. If this guy has nothing to do, we can have a drink together. I don't have to go to work tomorrow anyway, so it's okay to drink a little more. A moment later, Zhongming's message came back. No, the girl said she doesn't go out at night. I don't even have a date. Oh. I'm just coming out of the hospital. Do you want to order some barbecue and drinks? Sure. Zhongming's mood quickly improved after hearing this. There is nothing in this world that can't be solved with a barbecue. If one barbecue isn't enough, then 2 barbecues will do. Har har har. Okay, come to the gate of the community, I'll be there in a moment. Okay. I'll be there right away. Barbecue with cold beer is absolutely delicious. After the two met at the entrance of the community, they quickly found a barbecue stall not far from the entrance. Lamb tendons, lamb kidneys, tendon, leek steamed bread slices, plus 6 bottles of beer. Suyang, why did you come back so early today? Oh, I was just temporarily helping out my relatives to take care of them before, but now that my relatives are here, I don't have to go over there anymore. As Suyang spoke, he raised his glass, clinked it with Zhongming's, and drank it all in one gulp. Oh, that's okay. I was in such a hurry every day before, it was really hard. What's the big deal? We are all relatives, it's only natural. Su Yang laughed it off and naturally would not tell the truth. Her relationship with Yang Xie is still a secret and not suitable for public disclosure. Apart from knowing her name and age, he knows nothing else. Anyone who hears this would think it's a fairy tale. How's the situation between you and Li Feifei going? It's been a week since you started working, and you haven't even met up, made an appointment, or checked into a hotel or anything like that. Why? What else can we do? We just chat a few words on WeChat every day, and all we talk about are buying a house and betrothal gifts. She also asked me to sell my parents' house in my hometown and pay a down payment in Jiancheng. Oh my god. The house in my hometown was sold, and my parents are left to sleep on the street. Really? When talking about this, Zhang Ming became furious. When they were in love before, they had never considered so many things. But once I graduated, many things were different from what I had imagined before. A house worth several million, a dowry of 500,000, it seems so far away. It's definitely not okay to let my parents sleep on the street. Even if this marriage doesn't happen, I can't let my parents sleep on the street. My parents raised me up. I can't do such a cruel thing. Yes, Zhang Ming, you are right. When Su Yang heard Zhang Ming mention his parents, his own parents instantly appeared in his mind. It's unbearable to think about the hardship they endured. He, Su Yang, must work hard. Bring your parents here as soon as possible and let them live a good life. Yang Xie. What kind of wife would she be? As a mature older sister, she must understand these principles, right? No matter what. Let us spend some time together first. I want to tell my parents about this for now. If the two of them can really get along harmoniously, it won't be too late to talk about it then. Monday came in a blink of an eye. Su Yang and Zhang Ming arrived at the company early as usual. The company cafeteria provides breakfast, which is cheap, affordable and plentiful, so the two usually eat breakfast in the cafeteria. Su Yang, please send a new computer to Director Wang and bring back her old computer. Also, help install all the software she needs. Okay, boss. I'll be right there. Not long after returning to his workstation, the department boss assigned Su Yang some tasks. Su Yang had a pretty good impression of Director Wang. Not only is she beautiful, but she is also very enthusiastic. After answering, he went to the warehouse. I took a high-end new computer and rushed to the design department on the 5th floor. Good morning, Sister Wang. The new computer you requested is here. Morning, Brother Su Yang. Thank you so much. When Director Wang saw Su Yang coming in, a happy smile instantly appeared on his face. What are the specifications of the new computer? Not bad, the overall configuration of this batch of computers is good. I chose the one with the best configuration for Sister Wang. I know that designing requires a lot from computers. Su Yang is very capable and he had thought it through before choosing the computer. I can't tell. It's great that my little brother knows how to love his sister so quickly. As she spoke, Wang Fu stretched out her little hand and gently patted Su Yang's shoulder, pinching it. Well. Of course, of course. The design department should use the best computers. Su Yang felt that the older sister's actions were a little ambiguous, so he quickly explained. Yeah, thank you so much, brother. By the way, Su Yang, the question you asked me last time was about the serious illness of our company's top leader. I got some good news today. Oh? What's the good news? Su Yang was stunned and asked a question. After all, this matter involves his personal prospects, so he is still somewhat concerned. Chapter 22, If it is a blessing, it will not be a disaster. If it is a disaster, it cannot be avoided. I heard that our company's top leader has been discharged from the hospital and is now recuperating at home. If all goes well, he will probably be back to work soon. Oh, that's great. Su Yang couldn't help but feel more at ease after hearing this. Since the top leaders are about to return to work, there should be no problems with the company. But in a blink of an eye, he thought of Yang Xie again. It has been 2 days since she was discharged from the hospital, and she has not contacted me on her own initiative. This feeling is really empty. By the way, Su Yang, we are currently designing a new style of men's clothing. Once the samples are ready, come over and take some photos for me. Sure, Sister Wang, just contact me when the time comes. It's just taking a few photos, I can definitely help with this small favor. So Su-yang agreed without hesitation. Don't worry, Su-yang, I won't let you help for nothing, I have money. Okay, Sister Wang, thank you so much. Since Director Wang once again said he has money, I guess the compensation should be acceptable. Why are you being so polite to me? I mainly saw your figure and looks, and you are very suitable to be a model for our company. I am also helping you to make some extra money, right? As he spoke, Director Wang naturally placed his hand on Su-yang's shoulder. Look at these broad shoulders and inverted triangle figure. Su-yang, do you have abdominal muscles? Oh, yes, Sister Wang. Su-yang smiled a little awkwardly, feeling that this elder sister was a little weird, as if her words and actions were somewhat ambiguous. Her small hand slid from his shoulder to his arm and she squeezed it gently. It seemed as if he was feeling whether his muscles were strong. Real. Yeah, it's true. Wow, that's a really nice figure. Upon hearing this, Director Wang's eyes could not help but flash with an imperceptible light. It's just so. My usual exercise intensity is okay. While the two were chatting, Su-yang helped Director Wang install the necessary software. After a short while, everything was installed. Okay, Su-yang, go ahead and get busy. When our samples are ready, my sister will notify you. Director Wang said this as he took his hand off Su-yang's shoulder, as if he still felt a little unsatisfied. Yes, okay, Sister Wang, I'll go over there then. Su-yang nodded, did not stay, turned around and left. This elder sister. Could it be that since they are fashion designers, they are used to seeing all kinds of handsome guys, so they don't take such ambiguous actions seriously? Just like those movie actors who kiss others all the time. I guess they are used to it. Su-yang was thinking as he walked. Soon, he returned to his workstation. Su-yang, come here. As soon as he sat down and took a sip of water, the head of the department came over to find Su-yang. Okay, boss. Su-yang quickly put down the cup and walked over with the department head. The two of them walked one after the other and soon arrived at the office of the department head. Su-yang, at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, go to the Human Resources Department and look for Director Zhao. Well. Su-yang couldn't help but be secretly shocked when he heard this. Oh my god. The HR department is looking for me. Are you going to fire me? I've just been working for a week, and I think I've done a pretty good job and haven't made any mistakes. If there is one flaw, it is that I leave too promptly after get off work in the evening. But that was to chat with Yang Shir's wife. Boss, what does the HR department want to see me for? Are they going to fire me? Anyway, Su-yang couldn't understand what was going on, so he asked. I don't know about this matter actually, the HR director didn't say anything either. He just said he had something to discuss with you. It's okay, Su-yang, don't worry. If they really dare to fire you, I will be the first one to disagree. Besides, if they really want to fire someone, they will definitely communicate with me first. The department head shook his head and patted Su-yang on the shoulder. It seems that he is quite satisfied with this new subordinate. Although I have only been here for a week, I have completed all the tasks that were arranged very well. Okay, boss, I got it. Since the boss said so, Su-yang felt more confident. Logically speaking, if you really want to fire someone, you should first talk to the head of the department. Besides, even if the HR department wants to fire someone, there is no need for the HR director to talk to him in person, right? The more Su-yang thought about it, the more strange it seemed. If my guess is correct, the topic shouldn't be about firing him. Okay, just remember this and go there to meet Director Zhao at 2 p.m. Don't be late. Okay, boss. I remember. If it is a blessing, it is not a disaster. If it is a disaster, it is unavoidable. Who cares? Just leave it to fate. After listening to the boss's arrangements, Su-yang quickly returned to his workstation. Su-yang, what is the boss calling you for? As soon as I sat down, Zhang Ming came over. This time, the boss called Su-yang to the office to talk alone. It seems that there is something going on. He asked me to go to the Human Resources Department this afternoon, saying someone wanted to talk to me. What? The HR department wants to talk to you. Holy shit. No way. Zhang Ming was shocked when he heard this. His first reaction was that something was wrong. They had just been employed for a week, would the HR department fire him? If Su-yang is fired, Zhang Ming will probably not escape death. It is said that the company's top leader is seriously ill. Is this the beginning of layoffs? Oh my god. Aren't these two really unlucky? Yeah, that's what the boss said anyway. He doesn't know what they talked about specifically. The boss said it wouldn't be a dismissal, and I don't think that's the case. I think this is hard to say. Think about it, the leader of our group is seriously ill, this is a bit mysterious. As Zhongming spoke, his brows furrowed tightly. Oh my god. If we really get fired, we'll have to find a job quickly. It's not easy to find a job nowadays, eh? My house, my betrothal gift, there is no hope for that. Don't worry, bro, I don't think it's a layoff. Because the boss said that it was Director Zhao from the HR department who came to talk to me in person, so I don't think it should be a layoff. I am just a new recruit, and the HR director should be in charge personally. Really? That's what the boss said. Yes. Oh. If that's the case, then it shouldn't be a layoff. Your analysis is correct. You're just a small soldier. It's not worth the director to talk to you in person. But, what can the director talk to you about, as a small soldier? This is a bit strange. Chapter 23. Do you want to switch to being a secretary? I don't know either. It's okay. I'll just take a look this afternoon. It doesn't matter if I get fired. I can just find another job. Suyang pondered for a moment and shook his head slightly. This kind of thing is hard to figure out anyway, so just stop thinking about it. Yeah, that's true, but if she really was fired, it would be a shame. There are so many beautiful women in this company. At 1:50 p.m., Suyang left his workstation with trepidation. Soon I arrived at the Human Resources Department on the 6th floor and found the director's office. Knock, knock, knock. Come in. After knocking on the office door, a calm female voice came from inside. Suyang gently pushed open the door and saw a woman in her 30s sitting behind the desk, looking at him with a smile. Hello, Director Zhao. Are you looking for me? You are Suyang, right? Please help close the door. Director Zhao smiled and nodded, signaling Suyang to close the office door. Yes, Director Zhao, I am Suyang. Well, Suyang didn't think much about it and closed the door. Come on, Suyang, please take a seat. Do you know what I asked you to do? This, I'm not sure. Suyang scratched his head in confusion. I've only been in the company for a week and don't know many people. How would I know what you want me to do? Director Zhao couldn't help but smile when he saw this. Suyang, I just took a look at your resume. Is this self-evaluation true? As he spoke, Director Zhao handed over the resume in his hand. Well. Suyang glanced at the self-evaluation at the bottom of his resume and couldn't help feeling embarrassed. Have strong interpersonal skills, good at communication and listening, not only have strong psychological stress resistance, but also strong physical fitness. That's roughly what it means. Don't take it too seriously. Very strong, extremely strong, super strong, these words are used mainly to express an attitude. That's about the same. Since he was asked, Suyang naturally would not give in. Not to mention anything else, he spent 4 years in college trying to make money, which was a lot of training. No matter what the matter is, no matter who the person is, I have come into contact with a lot of them. I have never been a coward. Even when a girl kissed me forcibly for the first time, I never flinched. After hearing Suyang's words, the Human Resources Director couldn't help but laugh. This boy is quite handsome and has a thick skin. Do you know what a secretary does? Secretary. Suyang was just thinking about telling Director Zhao about the projects he had worked on during his 4 years in college, but he didn't expect her to change the subject. Of course the secretary knew about it. A secretary does their work when there is something to do, and what kind of secretary is that when there is nothing to do? I understand. Isn't a secretary someone who helps the leader do things? For example, organizing meetings, booking flights and booking rooms. This did not pose any difficulty for Suyang, and he answered it quickly. He once served as the temporary boyfriend of a female secretary of a CEO for a few days, so he had a basic understanding of the secretary profession. Yeah, good, you understand it pretty well. Upon hearing this, Director Zhao couldn't help but nodded secretly. This guy is not only thick-skinned, but also has a very quick reaction. Then do you want to switch to being a secretary? Su Yang was stunned when he heard this. Oh my god. What is this? I didn't study secretarial science, and I wasn't interviewing for a secretarial position. Besides, I'm doing well in the network department. Why are they suddenly telling me to switch to a secretary position? Who's secretary? Is the leader a man or a woman? Could it be that some female leader was attracted by my ability to do horizontal bar and hula hoop? But you can learn more about it in detail. Director Zhao, do you need a secretary? The older sister in front of me is quite pretty, it would be worthwhile to be her secretary. Oh, no. She's the president of our group, and she needs a smart and capable young man to be her secretary. Director Zhao looked Su Yang up and down and was indeed quite satisfied with his appearance. This guy is not only handsome, but also very strong. Through the communication just now, she felt that Su Yang's reaction was very quick, and his IQ and EQ were not low. Oh. Smart and capable. Su Yang immediately understood the inner meaning of this idiom. If my guess is correct, the president of this group should be a woman. Director Zhao, I heard that the president of our group is ill, right? Yes, that's right. I didn't expect that you knew this news when you first came to the company. But the president has been discharged from the hospital and is recuperating at home. So she needed a smart, capable and hardworking young man to be her secretary. The main reason is that she is not in good health, so she needs a young man to help her. Our president is a beautiful lady. Oh. After listening to what Director Zhao said, Su Yang couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief. So this is the reason. Since you have just recovered from a serious illness, there is basically nothing to worry about. At least you can try it. The key point is that the salary for this position of President's secretary must be quite high. Moreover, the power of this position has become much greater invisibly. Besides, you can also get many opportunities to exercise. Following the president, you can also get in touch with and learn more things. This opportunity seems pretty good. As for that, it's okay, secretary. As long as he remains a virgin, it shouldn't be a problem. Okay, Director Zhao, I'd like to try this position. After a moment, Su Yang no longer hesitated. This position is definitely a good opportunity for him to train. Okay. Congratulations, Su Yang. From now on, I will have to call you Secretary Su. Thank you so much, Director Zhao. As for how Director Zhao found him, he was too embarrassed to ask more. Anyway, this opportunity fell on him, which was his luck. This secretary is the secretary of the group president. It feels like she has risen to the top overnight. No matter which department or leader of the group, who dares not to be polite to the president's secretary. Otherwise, if he says something unpleasant about you in front of your leader, you might really be in trouble. Secretary Su, you're welcome. Come, sign this transfer contract. I'll take you to the office later. As he spoke, Director Zhao took out a contract and handed it to Su Yang. Chapter 24. The CEO's name is also Yang Xia. Su Yang flipped through the job transfer contract and became more and more surprised. The basic salary is 20,000 yuan. Telephone bills, a monthly subsidy of 1,000 yuan. The fuel cost for driving is subsidized by 5,000 yuan per month. Housing allowance, 5,000 yuan per month. Oh my god. The treatment of the CEO's secretary is so good. After roughly reading the contract, Su Yang looked at Director Zhao in surprise, with confusion in his eyes. What's wrong, Secretary Su? Are you not satisfied with your salary? Oh, no. Director Zhao, although I have a driver's license, I don't have a car. Can I forget about the fuel subsidy? Besides, the commute to get off work is only a few stops, so there is no need to drive. It doesn't matter if you don't have a car. The company's Audi A7L will be your car for now. This is also what the president asked. After all, the president is not in good health, so you need to run back and forth quite a lot, and it would not work without a car. As he spoke, Director Zhao took out a car key from the drawer and placed it in front of Su Yang. Well, Audi A7L. As a poor loser, I have never driven such a nice car. Oh my god. Being a secretary actually comes with a car, this is so cool. This was the car that belonged to the former president's secretary, but she has already resigned, so now the car is handed over to you. The car is on the basement level, you can go check it out later. Oh, okay, thank you Director Zhao. After hearing what Director Zhao said, Su-yang felt much more at ease. It turns out that the former president's secretary was already equipped with a car, so it is normal to give the car to his successor secretary. The treatment in this contract. It's much better than his original treatment. As a newcomer in the network department, his monthly salary is only 5,000 yuan. For this little money. In a big city like Jiangcheng, if you don't spend all your money every month, there will be almost nothing left by the end of the month. But with the treatment of the president's secretary, he can live a comfortable life. It can also allow my parents to live a comfortable life without worries about food and clothing in their hometown. No need to work so hard anymore. Soon. Su-yang didn't think much about it, picked up the pen and signed the contract. Okay, come on, Secretary Su, follow me to your office. Seeing that Su-yang had signed the contract and put away the car keys, Director Zhao smiled and nodded, then stood up. Okay, Director Zhao. Even has its own independent office. Well. The treatment of this secretary is really good. Su-yang followed the human resources director and quickly took the elevator directly to the top floor. After walking through a glass door, the first thing you see is a reception desk. There was a pretty young girl sitting in the back. Sister Zhao, you are here. This handsome boy is Xiao Wu, this is our new CEO secretary, Su-yang. Xiao Wu, please find the key to the secretary's office and bring it over. Hello, Sister Zhao, it's Secretary Su, hello, hello. When the girl at the front desk heard this, her eyes lit up and she quickly greeted Su-yang politely. Hello, you're welcome. Su-yang smiled and nodded, being naturally polite. Walking around the front desk, Su-yang followed Director Zhao inside. Secretary Su, this big office is our CEO's office. I'll ask Xiao Wu to help you record your fingerprints later. Come here, this smaller office is for your exclusive use. The door of this office is open and there is no fingerprint lock installed. As Director Zhao walked into the office, Su-yang instantly fell in love with this office environment. Oh my god! Is this the office environment a secretary should have? The area of this office must be at least several dozen square meters, right? Large desk and comfortable executive chair. Large sofa. There is even a big fish tank with a long fish covered with golden scales swimming around in it. This is definitely a high-end office. Tap tap tap. Su-yang was looking around the office when he heard footsteps outside. Sister Zhao, the key to the office. Okay, Su-yang, take the key to the office. This office will be yours from now on. Aha! Su-yang said this and couldn't help scratching his head. This feels like a dream. He went from being a newcomer in the network department to becoming the secretary of the group president. The contrast between before and after is really too great. I took the office key from the girl at the front desk and put it in the same pocket as the car keys. Secretary Su, the president asked you to call her at 10 a.m. tomorrow. This is her phone number. As he spoke, Director Zhao handed over a note. There was a mobile phone number written on it, and the words, Mr. Yan, were written behind it. Director Zhao, what is our president's name? Now that I've become the president's secretary, I have to know her name, right? Our president's name is Yang Xia, a super beautiful lady. Su-yang. You should be happy to be the secretary of such a beautiful CEO. As soon as he finished speaking, Director Zhao and the girl at the front desk couldn't help but laugh shyly. Yang Xia. When Su-yang heard this name, his head started buzzing. Oh my god. The president's name is also Yang Xia. Could this Yang Xia be the same Yang Xia that I married? Xiao Wu, take Su-yang to get his fingerprints recorded so that it will be easier for him to enter the president's office. Okay, Sister Zhao, I'll go right away. Okay, go get your fingerprints taken, I'll go over first. Su-yang, if you have any questions, you can always ask me. Come, let us add WeChat. Okay, Director Zhao. Soon, the two added each other as WeChat friends. Then, Su-yang then went to the door of the president's office with the girl at the front desk and had his fingerprints recorded. With just a light touch, he can open the door of the president's office. The president's office has a larger space, but the decoration and layout are similar to his office, both very high-end. Secretary Su, I'll be there first. Feel free to contact me if you need anything. Can I add your WeChat too? The girl at the front desk said this, her face slightly reddening. Okay, no problem. Soon, the two added each other as WeChat friends. After the girl at the front desk left, Soo-young returned to his office, sat in the boss chair, and started thinking. Yang Xia. Is this a coincidence? If it's a coincidence, it's too much of a coincidence, right? At this time, Soo-young felt his head buzzing. Chapter 25. Yes. You are like the chief eunuch. Soo-young reached out and turned on the computer on the desk. It took only a few seconds to boot up. Oh my god. This configuration is considered to be quite high, and is in no way inferior to the computer that was given to Director Wang today. The system was obviously newly built, and there was nothing left, including the previous secretary's documents. So Soo-young picked up his phone, found Director Zhao's WeChat, and sent her a WeChat message. Director Zhao, do you have the handover documents for the new secretary? A moment later, Director Zhao's message came back. I'm sorry, Soo-young, the previous secretary didn't leave any documents, so you have to figure this out from scratch. Anyway, you just do whatever the president arranges for you to do. All right. In that case, then there is no such thing. Soo-young reached out and opened the browser, and found the Kacharcher website. I entered the name of the company that I had just signed the contract with and looked at the legal representative. Yang Xiaoyu. This is not Yang Xia's name either. Soo-young shook his head and felt a little dizzy for a moment. Then I found the Group S official website. However, the official website only displays clothing products and the like, and does not contain any information about the Group S leaders. After searching around, he didn't find the information he wanted. Never mind. Anyway, I have to talk to the president on the phone at 10 o'clock tomorrow, and then everything will be clear. If the president of this group is really the Yang Xia that I married, then this can really be considered as hooking up with a rich woman. Because the old lady Li who called before said that Yang Xia was willing to try to date him. This can be considered as getting married first and then falling in love. But, is this possible? I am just a poor loser, how could I really meet such a rich woman? Is there smoke or fire coming out of my ancestral grave? Ding dong. When Soo-young was daydreaming about all sorts of things, his cell phone suddenly rang. I picked it up and saw that it was a message from Zhang Ming. Fuck. Soo-young, I just received a group-wide appointment email. It said that Soo-young was appointed as the CEO's secretary. Holy shit. This Soo-young, couldn't he be someone with the same name as you? Or, is this you? Well. Soo-young couldn't help scratching his head when he saw Zhang Ming's message. The contrast between the two was so great that even his good brothers were confused. Yes, this Soo-young is me. This was indeed true, and Soo-young quickly replied to Zhang Ming. Oh my god. What the hell? Where are you now? I'm on the top floor, in the secretary's office. Okay, wait a minute. That's awesome. After Zhang Ming sent the message, he quickly left his workstation. Not long after, Zhang Ming came over and knocked on the office door. Come in. Squeak. With the sound of door opening, Zhang Ming pushed open the office door. Then, I was stunned. Fuck. This. Looking at the luxurious office, Zhang Ming could only utter a heartfelt, fuck. Come on, sit down. Seeing this, Soo-young put away his messy thoughts, waved at Zhang Ming, and motioned him to sit on the chair opposite. Soo-young, how did you become a secretary? That. I don't know either. Fuck. You don't know? Yeah, I really don't know. Anyway, the HR director called me over and asked me if I was willing to be the president's secretary. When I saw the treatment was good, I agreed. Who doesn't he want to make more money, right? Soo-young smiled awkwardly, but did not hide it from Zhang Ming. As for why Director Zhao found him, he really couldn't explain it. If this President Yang Xia is his marriage partner Yang Xia, then it would be easy to explain. But Soo-young currently cannot confirm whether these two Yang Xia are the same person. No. I say brother, whether the salary is high or low is not the most important thing. This is the President's secretary. Under one person, above 10,000 people. That's right, it's like what it is, right? You are like the chief eunuch. No matter how high the official rank is, who dares to be rude to the chief eunuch? I'll go. You are the eunuch. I want to get married and have children, but I don't want to be a eunuch. Ahem. No, I was just making an analogy. Holy shit. You've reached the top in one step. Oh no. What the hell? I've never done a secretary job before, and I don't know if I can do it well. I might be fired after just 2 days. No, no, absolutely not. Don't worry, Soo-young. After hearing Soo-young's words, Jong-ming simply waved his hand. Think about it, we all just graduated from college, and it's clearly written on our resumes. What's more, the HR director clearly knows that you majored in computer science. That's an obvious thing. There must be some special reason why I made you my secretary. Jong-ming reacted quickly and soon discovered the key to the matter. I think I'm not worse than you in professional subjects, right? Then why doesn't anyone ask me to be the CEO's secretary? How should I know this? Soo-young, look at you, you have a good figure, a pretty face, and 8-pack abs. Handsome guys like you are the favorite of rich women. Moreover, the president of our company is indeed a woman. I heard that she is a single beauty in her 30s. Oh my god. Soo-young, you are going to be rich. It seems that the president of our group has taken a fancy to you and wants to support you. Jong-ming analyzed and spoke, and soon a look of shock appeared on his face. It seems. This conclusion is very likely to be correct. What? You said our president is in his 30s. Yes, that's what I heard from those smokers. She's so beautiful. Brother, you are so happy now. Don't you like older sisters? Well. Yes, I do like mature older sisters. They are elegant and charming. Don't you like them? Of course I like it. There's no chance. Well, that's right. When I heard Jong-ming say that the president was only in his 30s, I was stunned. My marriage partner is 42 years old, while the president is only in his 30s. It seems they are not the same person. It seems that I was overthinking it. That's what I told you. How could it be so easy to have smoke coming out of this grave? Chapter 26. What kind of connection is this? The CEO actually took a fancy to you. Brother, you have to protect me from now on. You are really awesome now. Har har har. Okay, as long as I have the ability. It must be there. I'm going to the network department to pack my things. Hey. Although I'm the president's secretary, I haven't met the president yet. Soo-young smiled awkwardly and then stood up. That won't happen soon. I heard that the president is recuperating at home. You can take this opportunity. You know, maybe the president will really fall in love with you. No. Upon hearing this, Soo-young quickly waved his hand. He is a married man now, and Yang-shia is also a very beautiful older sister. No matter how handsome or rich this president is, he will never abandon Yang-shia. When it comes to matters of principle, he can't do anything wrong. Don't worry about anything. You don't have a partner right now anyway. If you have such a good opportunity, you must take it. Yeah, whatever happens. Soo-young smiled and didn't continue to dwell on this issue. He didn't want to expose his relationship with Yang-shia too early. At least we have to wait until the two of them are really together, and then it will be natural to talk about it. The two chatted all the way and soon arrived at the network department. Soo-young, have you been transferred to become the president's secretary? Oh my god, Soo-young, you are awesome. Is the appointment announcement in this email talking about you? Is this true? Soo-young, you were noticed by the president just a week ago. This must be true. Look at Soo-young's appearance. He has both a pretty face and a good figure. What rich woman wouldn't like a handsome boy? Holy crap. Soo-young is reaching the sky in one step. Brother Soo-young, you have to protect me from now on. As soon as Soo-young and Jong-ming returned to the network department, their colleagues surrounded them curiously. There are those who envy and those who are jealous. For a moment, the entire network department was in chaos. There was chaos for a while when everyone received the email just now. Now that Soo-young is back, their whole department is even more lively. Brother Soo-young, let's go and have a chat. After a while, the head of the department came over with a smile and patted him on the shoulder gently. Even the way he addressed Soo-young changed. Okay, boss. Soo-young stood up, nodded politely, and followed the boss to his office. Brother Soo-young, come and sit down. What kind of connections do you have? You were actually favored by the CEO. Well, I don't have any connections. The HR director came to me, and I was confused. Didn't I ask the boss before? Su Yang looked at the envious look in the department boss' eyes and couldn't help but scratch his head. Oh, that's right. By the way, boss, what kind of person is our president? I haven't met her yet, so I'm a little unsure. Our president is a real beauty, otherwise I would not envy you so much, har har har. Well, I have heard of this. What about her personality? Is she easy to communicate with? Su Yang didn't really care whether it was beautiful or not. Anyway, he already has Yangxia, so no matter how beautiful the president is, it has nothing to do with him. He's really easy to communicate with. By the way, our president is still single, brother. You're lucky. No, no. I'm just a young graduate, how can I be worthy of this? How could the president possibly be interested in me? That's hard to say. The department boss smiled mysteriously and didn't say anything further. It was obvious that he knew a lot of information, but he didn't want to say much. Har har har, brother, let's communicate more in the future if we have anything to discuss. Okay, boss. The two chatted for a short while in the office, and then Su Yang left the office of the head of the network department. This can also be considered as a farewell to the leader. Then he went to his workstation and started packing his things. Not long after, he took his things, said a simple hello to his colleagues in the department and left. Su Yang stayed in his office for a while and then left. We took the elevator directly to the basement garage. After pressing the car key, I saw the headlights of a black car light up. Wow! This Audi A7L is basically brand new. Su Yang opened the car door and sat in the driver's seat. Sniff. There seemed to be a faint fragrance lingering in the car. I guess this should be the aura of the beautiful secretary from before. Boom. With the roar of the engine, Su Yang drove the car out of the basement. Oh my god. This feels much more comfortable than driving the crappy car in the driving school. It's so cool to speed all the way. However, he didn't drive for too long. I took a short stroll and then came back. As a new official, he was embarrassed to go out for too long, in case someone came to look for him. After all, he is the president's secretary now. There might be many people looking for him from all departments and subordinate branches of the entire group. Early the next morning, as usual, he came to the company with Zhang Ming. After breakfast, he went straight to his office. Time goes by little by little. Finally, it's 10 o'clock in the morning. Su Yang had already entered the president's phone number on his phone. When the time came, he pressed the call button. Beep beep. Soon, the call was connected. Hello. A light female voice came from the phone. Hello, Mr. Yan, I am Su Yan. Oh, you are Su Yan, hello. It was obvious that the president knew Su Yan. Moreover, there seemed to be a hint of laughter in her voice. Su Yan, you have heard what Director Zhao said about my situation. Due to health reasons, I cannot go to the company for the time being. Yes, Mr. Yan, Director Zhao told me roughly. Well, Su Yan, you should get familiar with the heads of various departments in our group headquarters in the next 2 days. For the specific list of personnel, you can ask Director Zhao of the Human Resources Department. Okay, Mr. Yan, I'll get familiar with it as soon as possible. Okay, when you're familiar with me, contact me again. Come over to my place and we can meet and talk. Okay, Mr. Yan. Although Su Yan didn't quite understand the president's intention, his first reaction was that this might be a test for him. Chapter 27. This elder sister speaks in a very interesting way. The conversation with the president was very short. Before we could say a few words, the call ended. Seem. The president, Yangxia, sounds really young, maybe around 30 years old. There was a hint of smile in his voice, and he seemed to be in a good mood. Does she really just have the same name as her marriage partner Yangxia? Forget it, I can't figure this out anyway. Wait until I can meet with the directors of each department as soon as possible to get familiar with them, and then go meet the president. Then the truth will be revealed. Anyway, it's only a matter of 2 days, and I'll be able to meet the beautiful president of this group soon. So, Su Yan quickly confirmed what to do next. I contacted the director of the Human Resources Department and quickly got the information of the heads of each department. So far, he has had some communication with the heads of 3 departments. Director Li from the Network Department, Director Wang from the Design Department, and Director Zhao from the Human Resources Department. Although the understanding is not in depth, it is a preliminary understanding. Other department heads. How can I communicate with them as quickly as possible? Suyang thought about it and soon came up with an idea. Hello, Sister Wang. Suyang still planned to start with Director Wang. After all, he was somewhat familiar with her. Furthermore, the design department is the core department of the company, and it is also what he needs to focus on understanding and learning. Understanding people is one thing, but the most important thing is, the president probably wants him to familiarize himself with the company's general business situation as quickly as possible. After all, as the president's secretary, it would not be appropriate if you have no knowledge of the company's business. Wow! Brother is here, come on, brother, sit down. I never thought that you are now the secretary of the president of our group. Director Wang's eyes lit up when he saw Suyang push the door open. Now that his identity has changed, Director Wang's attitude towards her has changed significantly from before. Sister Wang is so polite. Suyang smiled and nodded, then sat opposite her. This elder sister is very warm and polite, and it is really easy to communicate with her. Sister Wang, our department is the core department of the company. The president specifically asked me to come to you to learn about the design-related things in our department. Oh. After hearing Suyang's words, Director Wang instantly understood what he meant. As the president's secretary, you must understand the company's business. Even if you are not professional, you must have a general understanding of it. Suyang used to work in the network department, majoring in computer science, so he definitely doesn't know much about the clothing industry. No problem, brother, you found the right person by coming to my place. As a clothing company, the design department is naturally the core department. If you understand what our department does, it will be easier to understand other departments. Come on, brother, sit over here. As she spoke, Director Wang motioned for Suyang to sit next to her. Okay, Sister Wang. Suyang did not expect that this elder sister was so understanding. It's really easy to communicate with her. So he pulled a chair and sat directly next to Director Wang. An even stronger fragrance came from the side, making him a little dazed. This should be the aura of a mature older sister, right? It smells really good. Come on, brother, let me tell you about the work process of our department first. Okay. Thank you so much. TSK, you're still being polite to your sister. Director Wang chuckled and reached out to pat Suyang on the shoulder. The youthfulness of this little boy is so charming. Since the lecture was about to start, Suyang quickly opened the notebook in his hand and prepared to start taking notes. Look, brother, our design department must first conduct market research, and then determine the clothing styles to be designed based on market conditions. Look, brother, this is a research report and design draft of a women's BRA. I'll use this case to explain it to you. Director Wang's understanding of fashion design is indeed very profound. She used the simplest language to make Suyang, a layman, understand it clearly quickly. As she explained, Suyang listened carefully and took notes. From research to design to proofing, Director Wang explained it in great detail. Before I finished speaking, it was already 12 o'clock noon. Ouch. I'm sorry, brother. I was so busy talking that I forgot the time. Oh, it's okay, Sister Wang, I'll order the food. What do you want to eat? It's my treat. Suyang looked at the time and immediately opened the food ordering app. Director Wang works so hard to teach, so Suyang must show his appreciation. Okay, har har, since my brother is treating, I won't be polite. Come on, have some. As he spoke, Director Wang took Suyang's phone and started taking orders. Taking advantage of this opportunity, Suyang picked up the cup and poured himself a glass of water. Sister Wang, just order whatever comes to your mind, and don't be polite to me. Har har har, don't worry, brother. I won't be polite to you. A moment later. Okay, sister, order what you want to eat. You can order whatever you want. Okay? Suyang took the phone with a smile and glanced at it casually. This older sister was surprisingly quite polite. The meal she ordered was only over 30 yuan. All right. Suyang didn't say anything else. He just looked at the items, ordered a few more, and then submitted the order. Come on, brother, let's continue. This. Sister Wang, why don't you take a rest? I'm afraid you'll be tired. How is it possible? If anyone is going to be tired, it's you men who are tired. How can women be tired? Well. Suyang was stunned when he heard this. The meaning of this elder sister's words, why does it feel a bit weird? Is my brother no longer able to do it? Of course I can do it. I'm not tired at all. That's what I said. You're so young, how could you say you can't do it? Come on, brother, let's continue. Director Wang said this with a sly smile in his eyes. Then he motioned Suyang to sit over and prepared to continue teaching him. Good. This elder sister speaks in a very interesting way. If outsiders heard this, they would definitely think that the two of them were doing something extraordinary. Suyang didn't care much about such words. Just say whatever you want to say. You didn't do anything to me anyway. Ding ling ling. Just as Suyang was about to sit over, his cell phone suddenly rang. When I opened it, I saw that it was Mrs. Lee calling. Wow. For a moment, Suyang couldn't help but get excited. Was this going to let him go meet Yang Xie?